Hi there, and welcome to a very special call to cinema. I've got a guest here tonight, and we are going to be looking at movie challenges and June's exploitation films, including a tier list with over 50 films on the list. And with that being said, hey there, Anubis. Hey there, Robert. Hey there, Malcolm. I'd like to welcome Matty to the stage and to the collector's corner here tonight. Here we go.
Hey everyone.
Thanks so much. No. I am drinking Coke. I just got back, guys. I have literally just jumped out of a shower because I was at a pool, and I'm white. And being a white person in Morocco, when you go to a pool, that means, Matt, you know what that means, right? Lots and lots of suntan lotion. So
I don't really burn though at all. So
I was a white person and white face. There you go.
But if I was in Morocco, perhaps you might be right.
Oh man. So we are talking tonight, and I want to let you take the stage on this. We're going to be talking June's Exploitation. I actually got a tier list tonight. So you do the movie challenges, like the monthly movie challenges, right?
Yep.
And do you have particular favorites?
I mean, other than June's Exploitation is probably like number one with a bullet. But I mean, a lot of people take on these different challenges. You've heard of them, January Giallo. I like to, that's like more of a casual, challenge where you're gonna do, basically I try to watch as much Giallo or just try to get to Giallo in that month. And then, same thing with like a Noirvember, like, that was started by Myrna Gates.
Do you do musical March?
March I do everything 1983 because I don't know, I'm a freak, and that's my birthday month. It's my birth year, so I try to do double features, theme nights, all sorts of different things for that. And I guess my goal is just to watch as many movies that came out in
the show the Golden Girls painting to the world, apparently. So
and then I do a couple of calendars for Halloween for October. In December I do a thing called Kaiju Christmas. In previous years it's been something like where I've kind of like tackled maybe like all the Showa era Godzilla, and then the next year I did Heishi. I think in year 3 I'm going after Millennium. This past year I did 12 days of Kaiju Christmas, so I kind of put some other favorites or new watches in there too. And, that's about it. I think they kind of break down to two different ones, or a few different ones. I've seen people do challenges over a whole year, as far as like maybe like a weekly challenge where they have a weekly prompt. The one we're talking about today, June's Exploitation, it's like a month. So every day you get a prompt, and it's 30 days in June, so there's 30 different prompts that you have to go through. And basically we're going to go through them as I don't know, we're just going to go through the month and recap, I guess, and then we're going to tier
a lot. You're like 30 days. You had like 50 odd films there, right? So I have the list, so we'll show the guys the list now. So we got a list right here.
Hold on a second.
Maybe put her inside.
I'm muted.
And as you guys can see, we have a lot of films there. Now, you've watched these more recently than I have. Some of these I know. Some of these I haven't seen in a while, and I did that on purpose to put the spotlight on you, since you have watched the films.
Oh yeah.
So that we can actually kind of like just go through these, tier some of these, look at different stuff that you chose. Now, as it's done here, when you make up a tier list, for those that don't know, it puts it in alphabetical order for you. So when you go in and you're like, okay, I'm going to go by month or the day type of thing, it doesn't usually come that way. Now I'm going to try and still use, if you got the list there on which day you did it on, we'll do S tier. That's the top of the rung. That is exploitation at its finest, or not so finest, or in between.
Yeah.
No, it's at its finest. A is, still great. B is good. C is okay, but you're probably not going to watch it again.
Probably not.
And D is like, this was really hard to get through. I don't think I'm going to watch it again. And I just can't. So let me grab my iPad so I'll be able to see people's
All right.
messages. Because once I put this up on the screen, I'm only going to see that.
Yeah, I got my phone for that same purpose. While you're grabbing that, I'll just say this. You know, I watched a lot of these at home on on disc. So I'm going to be going through some discs. We're going to see some examples of physical media from the past, from the present. Yeah, nice little cross cut of genres, and
Yeah, I was impressed by your.
I wanted to hit
by your list.
I want to hit like different countries. I got to like 10 to, if we go into the co-productions, I got into 14 different countries that produce these films. So it's pretty sweet.
All right. So one thing to say before we go any further, like, share, subscribe. That's, if you're watching this video, it's a neat little thing to do. And I know when you come in to do this, it asks you if you want to super chat or donate or any of that type of stuff, because I just got that message for myself. But at the very least, I challenge everybody that's watching to please subscribe to the channel.
Yeah. I definitely have fun watching Aaron's streams, so I definitely want to, I would boost that 100%.
We got George, Anubis, and Malcolm here, like taking the lead when it comes to a lot of the chatter here. Never thought daylight would be this. Well, that's the thing. We're gonna give you can give your reasoning as we go through on titles that you chose. So, what did you pick? What did you pick first? And I'll see if I can find it.
Certainly. All right. Well, the first day was teenagers. I'll say that I did a lot of random picks because, if I haven't bared the lead any further than I have. I'm a Pisces, and that, I really lean hard in the indecisiveness. So, so I had basically what I did was I just made a list of movies, 1 through 8, 1 through 10, what have you. And then I went to Google, very simple, and just used a random number generator. And the first one it spit out was Devil in the Flesh with Rose McGowan.
Okay. These I have seen. It's been a while. So I figured the best way we do this, we go through these, we tier them. We'll each give a tier rating, decide together. And if it gets really, really hard, then we'll ask the audience what they think. Everybody watching. So what do you think, Devil in the Flesh?
Okay, so it's like one of those movies where, I don't remember if I watched it or not. I watched a lot of HBO, a lot of Showtime, a lot of the pay movie channels when I was a kid. And there's a level of familiarity, I will say, with this movie, but I got to tell you, I mean, if you really wanted to paint the most 90s movie, this might be one of the prime examples of uber 90s. I mean, with the way that they edit the movie, the music, what she wears, even down to the even down to like how they talk, how the teenagers talk to one another. This is your basic it's your basic like homicidal girl, that I mean, I'm not spoiling much. It happens right in the beginning of the movie, almost over the credits. Like her parents die and she's the cause of it, but nobody knows. The police investigation hasn't finished yet, so so she slips into another school and she falls in love with a teacher. Obviously she's a minor, and it goes from there. The teacher too is interesting. I'll say this. I don't know if you remember Alex MacArthur.
Very much. He actually did he did the Desperado movies, right?
I don't remember. I remember. I mean, I literally just watched Kiss the Girls yesterday, and he appears as one of the cops with like Carrie Elways and Brian Cox, what have you.
I gotta check it out. Here's a question I've got for you, and this is one thing. This is gonna be my going through question. So how does it hit on the exploitation meter? Violence, nudity. Does it check all the boxes?
Okay, well, I mean, it definitely has nudity. The scenes shot with Rose McGowan are very tasteful. I didn't really think that she got naked, but there's always like the teacher's girlfriend in these movies, you know.
Yeah.
There's always like someone to get rid of, and the lady that she has to get rid of, you know, has some, you know, hot and heavy sex scenes with with Alex.
Big check on that.
So you know, it's definitely you know, scaling up there on the sleaze, and I don't know. I mean, she, you know, there's definitely, she goes to the movie. Spoiler alert. There's definitely kills. So, and as far as the violence is concerned, it's not particularly gory, but you know, it's got a decent body count.
Well, you said a couple good things there. So, one, the nudity counts there. That's important for me for exploitation. Two, Alex MacArthur is the guy from the Desperado movie. So, for those who don't know, there's a series of TV westerns that were done, kind of based on the Eagles song, called Desperado. But most people are going to know Alex MacArthur if you've ever watched a Madonna video, because Papa Don't Preach, he would be the boyfriend with the really kind of blue eyes, the one that she has
Oh,
she's
yeah.
had a baby for. So that's Alex MacArthur, and he was also in a movie called Rampage.
Yeah.
So what do you rate
I was
those?
looking at that too. I will say one other thing about Alex MacArthur. If you see LA Takedown, the proto heat, you know, the heat before it was heat.
Yeah,
He's the Bobby D part. He's Robert De Niro in that movie. So thought that was pretty interesting.
he's an underrated actor.
Yeah, he's solid. Yeah, I mean, you know, I mean, he holds up pretty well. I don't know. When I initially looked at this, I'm kind of in the C category. I don't know. I mean, the 90ness is a little bit, you know, I don't know.
For me,
I don't know if it's enough to put it into the B category. I might watch it again. I own it. This is I actually thrifted this with part 2 and the 2 body chemistry movies. So that's a haul and a half.
That's a good haul, man.
No, whoa. And also Cobra, which will come up in a moment, and DC Cab, which I didn't get to that month. Haven't gotten to DC Cab yet.
I saw DC Cab in the theater. I actually love that movie.
Oh,
I would put Devil in the Flesh at a
awesome.
B. And I'll tell you why. Because, and people have mentioned like Poison Ivy, and this is very much a Poison Ivy style film. And like everybody else in the chat, yeah, I bought the Chef Factory Poison Ivy set. I had to. Do you have that one yet?
No, I don't. But I've seen the films. I mean, you know, it's hard not to watch any of these movies if you grew up when, you know, in the 90s like I did. They were plastered all over the cable channels, you know, or at least the paid movie ones.
I was so shocked.
Crush was the decent one.
So you want to see? I want to put that at B. Where are we putting this, guys? C or B?
I'm at C.
Well, looks like Malcolm agrees with you. So you got one person on your side. It's going in the C.
Yeah, by your criteria, I might get to it again, but probably not.
Okay, what's the second film?
All right, second film. I watched One More for Teenagers, another random film. Or I don't know. It was on the list, so I don't know if I just picked it afterwards. But I wanted to watch some Roger Corman, so I picked from this Pop Flick set right here. I'll try to get it right nice into the camera. This is the Roger Corman Drive-In Collection.
Okay, I used to have that actually.
Yeah, I like it. It's got 5 movies on there. What's cool is, you know, I mean, you don't get special features per se, but when you put the disc in, the like menu that pops up has like trailers, like you know, don't forget to detach the speaker from your car, you know, and stuff like that. You know, it's like a drive-in like announcement, so that was cool.
So I might have guessed we're going to High School Big Shot.
High School Big Shot. I think you know, I mean, I'm not going to spoil what I thought of, you know, like my ranking just yet, but I thought it was okay.
Okay.
You know, I mean, with these movies, you kind of like, you know, I mean, you have to be invested in the lead and you know, the 2 leads, which is this guy trying to be the big shot and this like, you know, co-ed that, you know, he's into, but certainly not into him. And she, you know, he has no business trying to bark up that tree, but he persists. And so the best way that he thinks he can do it is by getting a lot of money. So he orchestrates a heist, $1 million heist with like just a couple of, I don't even remember how he gets a hold of these guys, but they somehow employ, you know, he somehow employs some some like guys twice his age to help him out.
Oh, Malcolm, I hope your wife feels better. Let us, let me know later on how everything goes, and spend priorities, hit
Oh yeah,
priorities there, and
yeah. We'll
say
see you
hi to her.
later. Yeah, take care.
I don't remember High School Big Shot. Like, was this one that Roger Corman directed, or just one he produced?
It was produced. It was directed by Joel Rapp, and I don't really recognize any any of his other movies. But the girl was a dancer in Guys and Dolls, so I mean she has that going for her. It really boils down to he's got to deal with the class bully, and he kind of confides in her, and spoilers, she double crosses him. I mean, it's a 50-60 minute movie, so
Yeah.
it's not really heavy on plot, but it's fun. I mean, it's a fun little movie. Again, I don't know if I'm gonna watch it again, but if it's sitting, it's playing somewhere, I won't get up. I'll watch it. So I think again, I think that might be, maybe we put it in this. I would put it in the C, but probably maybe a little bit over Devil in the Flesh. That's just my opinion.
Okay, we're just gonna put it in the C for now. We'll categorize them.
Yeah. All right.
Put someone there, and what's next?
All right, we're continuing on the DVD train for a little bit.
Right.
The next one, now, this kind of dovetails with what we were talking about just a few minutes ago about Kaiju Christmas. So, I don't remember ever watching Mothra, but I picked this really cool setup. It's a Mill Creek set called the Pop Culture Bento Box. It includes Mothra, of course. It has Memories, which is like an anime that Katsuhiro Otomo had worked on with a couple other artists and stuff like that. The Godzilla TV series from the 90s. So just a bunch of random stuff. And yeah, I mean, Mothra, that's a movie.
That's a Stone Cold classic. When you're thinking of like some of the best of the Kaiju series, this really is. I mean, like, I do get a little peeved sometimes I used to actually with those those little girls that like that sing.
Yeah, they
but
do get annoying.
That's
You're not
very
wrong.
little like kind of nitpick, considering like just how good the movie was. The best edition I've seen is actually Mill Creek did a steelbook, and my dad's got it, and I'm very, very jelly of that steelbook.
I would definitely pick that up. Yeah, if the opportunity presents. And that's what I had written down too. That Mill Creek had that steelbook. And like a couple of the highlights, we get man-eating plants. You already mentioned the twin, little singing ladies. They have their song. Somehow the ladies changed from movie to movie, but the song stays the same. I don't know how they do that. You'd think they'd come up with something different, but it's all good. And I don't know. I think the kidnapped twins plot of the movie, or maybe the crime, or the setting up of that crime has been done in other Mothra and Godzilla movies, but whatever, I'm down with it as long as they have like those little tanks and the little munitions firing at Mothra. I don't think you get too much of his time in the worm, but you get some. I don't know, he always sprays that weird looking thing out of his he's got that weird stream of webbing or whatever the hell comes out of his out of the front of out of the the caterpillar or whatever he is at that point. Trying to keep it PG rated.
I think this is going to definitely get a higher rating. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm at least a B. We could put it at A, actually.
I would put it at an A. It is like the classic that this one is. I would say this, definitely deserves the an A class. It is that good, and it's one that you could easily push to an S, because it is, it's one of the cornerstones of Kaiju. And Kaiju is kind of like it's my thing. So
yeah, it just got to a point where I just wanted to watch all of them, so that's where I'm headed. Once I get through all Godzilla, I'm heading through Gamera. Once I'm through that, I'm going to hit all the oddball ones I haven't seen yet.
Gamera's so fun. The Showa stuff is insane, and it's all over the place. And then you get to the Hisui stuff, and it's like probably some of the best Kaiju movies ever made. So it's such a weird
Oh, I'm
balance.
down. Yeah, I can't wait. And a movie's a movie. It doesn't have to be Godzilla for me to enjoy it, as far as
Oh
I'm
yeah.
concerned. But I do love. Actually, I'll bring him out or her. I got a little Godzilla. Got a little Godzilla plushie that hangs out my place.
Oh, my better half will love that.
I'll put it
You
right
know,
here.
it kind of looks like Barney too. Godzilla Barney.
It does. Yeah, because they made it purple. Maybe it's like they took a snapshot when he's getting all electrical or whatever, ready for a charge or something. All right, let's move on. The next one was a new one for June's Exploitation. I also want to take a minute to say that this is all put on by F This Movie, so I definitely want to give them a shout out at least one time during this video if I forget. It's
Definitely.
a website and podcast. It's run by writer and film critic Patrick Bromley, and just to kind of reiterate, this is the first year they brought in poliziotteschi specifically. They had other categories that you could put them in there, gangsters, cop movies, what have you. But I wanted to get something that was, I haven't gotten the Violent Street set yet. It's on my list from Severin. So I wanted some Umberto Lenzi, but I didn't want something from that set. I kind of want to wait. So I went with Violent Naples, which was awesome. Definitely leaning hard into the faux Dirty Harry with Maurizio Merli, excuse me. He's definitely trying to clean up the city of Naples. And he's not really asking permission. He's not really following any rules. He just cleaning up the scum, and I'm here for it.
Poliziotteschi, they never asked asked permission. So, did you go to G Fest this year? Apparently, Anubis went to G Fest.
Oh, sweet. No, I did not.
And somebody asked if Mothra is exploitation. Anything is exploitation, because exploitation, really, the cornerstone of exploitation is if it's something in a movie that can be and is exploited in some way. So Mothra would be exploitation, of the kaiju type, and the destruction, the monsters, and that type of thing. Titanic, very famous movie, is 100% exploitation, because it is disaster porn.
Yeah.
With a love story.
Yeah. And then by the same ranking, there's a whole bunch of other movies you can throw in there. When we get closer to the end of the month, we're gonna have one that people will probably be like, "What the heck is this?" being on there, and it'll have its day at that point. But as far as Violent Naples is concerned, just a couple of highlights that I remember. You have John Saxon kind of playing a grimy type of he's like a gangster, but he's not like the main gangster, right? But there's epic motorbike chases. I feel like in poliziotteschi, it's like a given that you're going to have an awesome motorbike chase. We were talking about yesterday when we were prepping live like a cop, die like a man.
I love that movie so much.
And they start the movie on a motorcycle. So I mean, the only thing I'll say about this movie, Violent Naples, is that with all the awesome first person shots that they have behind the motorcycle itself, I really wish they would have just blew in some kind of air into the engine or not the engine, the dials, because the RPMs and the miles per hour, the gauges they weren't working properly. So either the bike that the crooks had was had broken dials, or they didn't try hard enough.
So what would you rank this one as? Where would you put it?
I mean, I'm A. We haven't gotten to any S category per se, but yeah, you on a good day you could put that on S. But I'm solid A.
Solid A for sure. This could end up being S before it's over. Do I think Freaks is the first exploitation? Not the first. I mean, there was a director of Vince called Dwayne Esper that did a lot of kind of crazy stuff back in the day. And there's a lot of the silent stuff too. Like you look at some of the Lon Chaney stuff that was done, that was definitely exploitation.
Yeah.
So I think exploitation was there pretty much from the beginning. It's like there's a kind of a joke that goes around that the second that the video camera was invented, it was like, okay, how do we get breasts on this? So exploitation is kind of like, I think, one of the first ones. But Freaks is one of the greats of exploitation.
Oh, I love Freaks too, and
I'm so excited at Criterion.
there's that like 8-minute Frankenstein movie that it was from like 1908 or something like that. That's decent. Definitely, you can definitely find that on YouTube. So
Yeah.
I would recommend that. So I had a little more capacity to watch another flick that for poliziotteschi movie, and so I mean, I'll put it this way: I really like to broaden my horizons. So I watched a documentary, and I watched the Eurocrime documentary. Eurocrime, the Italian cop and gangster films that ruled the 70s from 2012. And that was an exceptional documentary. And just call it stacked with just interviews and information, different movies to check out. I mean, you'd have to watch it 2 or 3 times to write down all the movies that they have, that they mention at least. I'll tell you what was cool too. I was able to screen grab some of them, and I was like sharing it with one of the groups that I belong to, which we'll get to them in a moment. But I hung out with a Discord group throughout the month, so we were able to share pics, and so I was like, posting these, and it was like, look at this, right? Man, it's like a checklist per actor. So they would show like the image. So you see like Telly Savalas, and then you'd see like the few poliziotteschi he was in, Bronson. I took a screen grab of Henry Silva because let's face it, I'm gonna want to watch all of them. Gonna want to watch all the DeLeo movies, anything that man's in. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really good documentary. I don't know how else to say it. But I do want to mention that, yeah, I was in the Discord group for Unsung Horrors. I don't know if you ever listened to their podcast with Lance and Erica.
Yeah, I have.
This is an interesting little factoid. So I was posting these pictures in that group, and Anthony King, who writes for this movie, saw my post, and he was like, I totally forgot about that movie, right? So he watches it, and when he did a little bit of his like his after show or whatever you want to call it, he mentioned that being on one of his favorite discoveries. So if nothing else, I inspired him to watch a cool movie. So that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So yeah, definitely. I would definitely put that in the A category as far as I'm concerned. That's a really good documentary, and I'm definitely going to rewatch.
It's one I've seen more than 10 times. Like this is so when you
I believe it.
It was just, I'm like, I am 100% down with this one. I love this one. And it was the reason actually that ended up picking up the Tough Ones a while back.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, what's next?
I think the Tough Ones is the one that's not like included in the Violent Street set as well. So
yeah, no, that one's like I got that one from Grindhouse, and which thankfully it's not in the street set because I want to get that street set down the road.
Oh yeah. Now this one took a little bit of preparation, and we'll give a little bit of background. Sorry about the bumpage there. Now this is my third Junesploitation. The first Junesploitation, I ended up with 2 physical copies of The Funny Farm. So we had The Funny Farm 1988 with Chevy Chase that everybody knows, Madeline Smith. We talked about her a little bit.
Yeah.
She's in that. She's in the film. Just can't remember the name with Malcolm McDowell, where it's just the 2 of them. But anyway,
You mean The Caller?
The Caller. There we go. Yeah. So she's in that, right? And then I had 1983's The Funny Farm, which is basically, hey, let's like do a movie about stand-up comedians, and we're gonna have Howie Mandel in that. We're it's Miles Teller. It's gonna be great. Miles Teller is gonna be the main character. You might have seen him in Get Crazy, it came out the same year. You know, saw him, French Postcards. The only thing about just before we move on about 1983 Funny Farm is that the jokes did not date well at all. Unfortunately, the movie itself otherwise is kind of okay. But yeah, I can recommend that one. But anyway, that was year one. Year two, I ended up doing Eaten Alive, which is cool. You know, you get Umberto Lenzi's Cannibal movie coupled with Toby Hooper's Swamp. It's kind of like a slasher in that movie. I don't know how else you call it. In Eaten Alive. But what's cool about that is Mel Ferrer somehow appears in both pictures. So that's like got to be somehow. I can't see how. Or I would like to be a fly on the wall in that pitch meeting when they're like saying, "Hey, do you want to be in Eaten Alive again?" But anyway, in that same vein, I went on to do like a whole year. In 2022, I did like a whole year of these doubles or triples where they had the same name. So I stopped doing it in November, and then I was like, yeah, let's resurrect it for this movie. So this is where we're at. We went with Cars. It's Cars Day, right? So once I show you my first movie, you probably know where I'm going to go with the rest of them. So we got 1976's Crash. Oop, trying to get the light. There we go. All right. This is a Charlie Band movie from 1976. I ended up buying this off of eBay, but you can obtain this. This is a full moon Blu-ray. My first, actually. And this is awesome. This is an awesome little movie, I got to tell you. I don't know if you've seen it, but...
I have, but it's been a long time, so I'm definitely deferring to you on this one.
All right. Well, basically, the plot works like this. You have the lady that Sue Lyon, she was Lolita in the original Lolita. She plays the wife of Jose Ferrer, okay? And Jose Ferrer is kind of a jerk in this movie, mega jerk, and he plots to bump her off. This is... I'm really not spoiling too much, but I don't want to get into the whole plot because I really think that it's constructed very well. But basically, through a talisman that she's given by Salem Lot vampire Ralph Nader, also Mark of the Devil or whatever the Inquisition, or not Inquisition, but the witch burning movie that he was in. He like sells her this totem that allows her to get revenge. And I'm just going to leave it at that. It definitely takes some twists and turns. I really love this movie, actually. The car stunts were exceptional. I will say this, and, it does kind of drop a little bit out of my experience sometimes, but then, we're talking about exploitation. Maybe I have to, chill a little bit. But, I could see like the strings and some of the effects pretty easily. I could see the stuntman wearing a helmet. You know what I mean? Like, but overall, I'm kind of thinking that Charlie Band could have had an exploitation career if he didn't go the like monster movie, like Little Critters route that he did. He could have had a decent exploitation career, for crying out loud. This is a good movie. I'm giving it a B. This is a good movie. Well,
I'm more familiar with the other Crash films, but I'm pretty sure I saw this one. So what was the second Crash one that you watched?
All right. Well, so like, I'm trying to plot myself a little bit good, or pace myself, should I say. The Crash that I watched was actually a midnight movie. It's nice to say that I watched these right in a row, but let's be realistic. I'm a human being. I have to work. I have to eat. I have children. I have a wife. I have responsibilities. So I watched Crash as a midnight movie, and then I watched this one during the day. This is, of course, 2004's Crash by, I don't like this guy anyway, by, his name's Haggis, so he's pretty much, we'll just keep it at that. It's all right. If you look at Letterboxd, it's pretty divisive. People either give it like a good rating, they think it's a good movie, or they think that the politics in it are weak sauce. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle, personally.
I can't want to be bluntly honest. It bored the hell out of me. Like this was an Oscar. Like
Oh yeah,
I'm like, how in the hell?
it's not even just an Oscar; it's a Best Picture Oscar.
Yeah, yes, and that's like, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't see it.
No, it was
I don't
not
see
my
it.
favorite crash, to say the least, of the night or of the day. So,
So, where are you
um,
rating this one? Because I know where I'm rating.
I'm at a C. Like I probably won't watch it again. I own it, so who knows? But yeah, I'm at a C. I'll say this: the performances by like Don Cheadle and Jennifer Esposito, there's some good stuff in here. Ludacris is good. William Fichtner, Keith David, who will come back in this. They're good. You know,
Oh,
but
it's a good cast. Like,
yeah, it's a
definitely
great
a good
cast.
cast. It
Yeah,
just,
but
I don't know, just
it,
do it for me.
it won the best. I think it won Best Writer too. So they really thought that this was a good
It really
screenplay, good
went in all
movie.
on this one. Now we're
It's on.
talking about my favorite crash.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
I'm not, I won't lie here.
Yeah.
This is the one that I like. What about you?
Oh yeah, this is definitely my favorite crash of the three, and this is a pretty decent release. Now, I don't have 4K capabilities right now, so buying the Arrow version really wasn't in my it was in my plans, but I ended up getting this, and I'm satisfied with this. You get an audio commentary from Cronenberg himself. You get interviews, some press conferences, some Q&As. I mean, I don't know how much more else that you could want other than getting that UHD, having it on 4K. But
I
the
have the
presentation on this was fine.
no, oh, of course. I do have the 4K. I actually recently watched Crash, the Arrow version, and
How
one,
did
it's
that look?
gorgeous. It looked fantastic. Oh, and it sounded fantastic, which was a big thing for me, especially because it's Crash.
Of course.
But it's like like the one you got is good, man.
Oh yeah.
Really. But no, this
And
is
I do buy some 4Ks, but I really can't play them yet, so it's just kind of like I'd use the Blu-ray disc, of course, but we'll get to one of those in a minute too. So
but for me, this is an A. What is this for you?
I'm at an S.
Yes. Ooh,
This is
okay.
nearly perfect as far as I'm concerned.
I'll go with you.
I'm going to say this too. I usually try to work in a Pride pick into June because I'm an ally, and some, like I have kids that are in the in the LGBTQ plus community. So like I usually try to work in some Pride pick into this. It's usually not this messed up. I'll say that.
Yeah.
you know um,
Uh,
but but
Me too.
honestly, if we're talking about Pride, they're definitely taking a pansexual approach to this type of like car crash fetish.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's more the crash itself than the person they're with. So therefore, ergo, they're more open to doing whatever with whomever, as long as they're like minded. It certainly doesn't cross that line. And I think that when Cronenberg was saying that he was trying to make an anti-porn, there are some elements in this movie that definitely the way that Deborah Carr Unger talks to James Spader, as his wife. Yeah, like ooh, like you start to get a little bit like you start to get a little bit turned on, and then you're like, holy crap! It's like a cold wash of water almost at certain points, but in a good way. It's very well written, very well directed and acted. There's really little to complain about this movie. Nearly perfect in my opinion.
I love this movie. My better half's not a fan, but we're
I
very
can see
different.
that, and I can see the dislike for it. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, we can move on.
Okay,
Move on.
what's next?
All right. So next was '90s action. And I streamed this one. It is Daylight with Sylvester Stallone. So, I watched a little, another Stallone movie this month. I'll say this, because I was looking to pick out this for this day. I was looking through some filmographies. And I'm looking through see if any big Schwarzenegger. I wasn't looking for any deep cuts. I was looking for just mainstream movies, anything I missed, and I made my way to Sly, and this is one I don't remember seeing. So when I watched it, I don't remember seeing it. So I'm glad I did. It was pretty good. I
It's got
liked
the
it.
late Sage Stallone in it too, right?
Pardon me?
It's got his son, the late Sage Stallone.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, he was in it. I know that it had Daniel Harris. I really remember her being in it.
Yeah.
So Jamie Lloyd can't miss out on her. Also want to say this as far as my take on Sly's performance. Now, I'm just going to recount what I wrote on Twitter, and I also put it. I think I put it in my Letterbox review. And I said this. I said if you thought Sly gave another heartfelt performance and played a redemptive character in the middle of an action movie, one film before Copland, you're not Stallone. No, really, because I think that he has that like kind of same vibe as Copland. It's not the same character, but he's kind of people aren't necessarily falling over trusting him right away. He's definitely has some, there's definitely some pushback from the survivors of this crash. And basically what happens is they're in the Lincoln Tunnel. One thing leads to another. There's like a cop chase, like with a, I forget if they're thieves or what they are, but so an explosion happens, and then basically the tube is compromised. So Sly has to go in and save him, and yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty intense. He's got some decent stunts. Amy Brennerman is his sidekick in the movie, for the lack of a better word to describe it, and she's great. Viggo Mortensen's in it, and Dan Hedaya plays his old partner. So I think it's pretty good. I'm putting it at a B personally. That's where I'm at a B.
100%. Great. It's a great cast. I actually love this movie.
Yeah.
And a B is, I think, it's a really solid footing for this one here.
Also to note, I saw that Universal put a standard blue out in case anyone was interested to purchase this item. All right, so we're going on our first free space of the month. Now this month I'm kind of following the same theme of random picks. So I had a pile of Blu-rays that I purchased from Dollar Tree of all places. And so I picked out of those randomly using that method I said earlier. And the first one I ended up with was, I thought it was a pretty darn good movie called Spree with Joe Keery of Stranger Things. Now I don't know if you can see him as well in this picture, but let me give you a little close-up of him here on the camera here. Let me just see. Because to me, he looks like Garrett Graham. He looks like he could play young Garrett Graham. Garrett Graham and him could be like dad, father and son for all I know. Even granddad at this point, who knows? And he kind of has that kind of like energies. He really carries the movie, in my opinion. Basically, his character is a YouTuber, not unlike yourself.
Hey, there we go.
So hey, right?
A little bit unlike myself.
He is a driver, like an Uber driver or Lyft. It's called Spree, and it's kind of like a pun because he definitely goes on a killing spree throughout the movie. It's not really, it's not really like, I'm not really spoiling much, but it's very interesting. I heard it recently on the Colors of the Dark podcast. They had a, I forget what it was, influencer horror. And it was one of the ones that they pointed out. So I don't remember if I heard that before or after, but it's a good movie. And I'm putting it in an A actually, based 100%. On performances. David Arquette plays his dad in it. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I liked it. I really liked it. Did you watch Influencer, by the way, on Shudder?
I have not.
Watch it. It's good. I'm
down. I'm not too worried about subject. I'll watch any subject of a movie as long as the film, like, is as long as I expect it to be something that, worth a sit down, so I'm not too concerned about what the movie's about, but if I heard it's good, I'll sit down and watch it. It doesn't matter what it's about.
And the girls and influencer are really, really good. Like that's what sells it. With a movie like that, yeah, the cast got to sell it. Same with Spree, the cast had to sell it, and he sold it.
There was Host too that they mentioned. That was another one that was enjoyable.
Perfect Host.
Host, yeah, like the one with it was like a 15-minute movie.
Anybody that's seen the movie knows exactly what I did. It's one of my favorites, actually. I desperately want a physical copy of that.
Yeah,
Perfect Host is one of my favorites, and I watched it when I had Shudder, and I liked it so much. I did a mini review right after I saw it, and I
think I remember that one. Yeah,
then I watched it again. So I watched it around 4 times within a week. So that's you can tell it's endorsement.
Yeah.
So look after Spree.
All right, so after Spree, I did another random Blu-ray from Dollar Tree. I'm just glad that they have the stuff available, man. I got Arizona. Arizona's the next one with Danny McBride. Did you ever see this one?
I don't know. I don't think I have, actually.
It's all right. The setup is that it's during the 2009 housing crisis. So imagine that people are getting in the houses that they couldn't afford, and I've had some experience in this. I won't say to what degree, but I do have some experience in this. In that, in that crisis, what have you. So basically, Danny is a homeowner, and he's kind of mad, and he takes a hostage, and his hostage is a realtor. So he's really mad about getting underwater on his house. I don't remember anything else that she was in offhand, but Rosemary DeWitt is the other lead. I would say she's the main character, and Danny is kind of like her co-lead, if you will. But they have some really funny performances by Kaylin Olsen or Sweet D from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. So I always love when she pops up. She's hilarious, and also her part in it is pretty funny. David Allen Greer plays a cop, and yeah, it's pretty good. I put it at a B. I would definitely watch this again. If my wife wanted, she suggested she wanted to watch some kind of dark comedy. Yeah, we could pop that in. It's not too bad.
Pull a feature with The Big Short.
Yeah, yeah. Well, right. You would see it by different point of views for certain by watching it with The Big Short. So okay. So the next one, I have another set. It's another pop flick set. Our next day, we're no longer in free space. We're going to slashers. I chose a proto-slasher, and it came from this set. It is what's it called? The classic slasher set. I don't want to get the glare on there, so hopefully I can get it there. There we go. Nope. There we go. There we are. Yep. So check out the movies on here. Okay, you have Don't Look in the Basement. Pretty good. Not too bad. You get Silent Night, Bloody Night, not deadly, but Bloody Night with Mary Warnoff.
I love that movie, actually.
It's a good movie. Yeah. You got the Hatchet Murders, aka Deep Red. So I mean, I can always throw down with that movie. And the Severed Arm, which I haven't watched yet, but it's definitely going to be one I get to. Probably the main reason why I kind of didn't prioritize that in past Vinegar Syndrome sales is because I already have a copy. So if I end up loving this movie, then that might change my mind real quick. You never know. But anyway, I went with a movie called Scream Bloody Murder. What's the year here? 1973. So definitely proto-slasher.
And
you know what the best thing about this movie was, and maybe the worst thing? Because the main character's name was Matthew, so the movie made it a point to say Matthew. And hey, that's my name, right? But they said it so much that it became so irritating that anybody would find it annoying, but especially a Matthew would find it annoying. Although I'll say this, I follow another. He has a blog. He's like his name is Matt too. He's from Minneapolis. MPLS Matt. I would check him out. But he had a favorable review of this movie that didn't mention the overuse of Matthew. So maybe it's just me. I don't know. But it kind of starts with Matthew kills his dad with a tractor, and they kind of take him to the asylum, and then he gets released from the asylum. In the meantime, oh no, he also loses his hand as part of this whole thing with his dad. So he comes back with a hook. So if anyone could imagine what happens, he ends up hooking people. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. Have you seen this one?
I have a long time ago, but I remember this one actually. I actually had to look it up, make sure it was the one that I thought it was.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
yes, it was.
it's mildly enjoyable. I mean, the kills are good. If we're talking about the exploitation quota that you're talking about, he definitely tries to have relationships with people. So he's definitely in it with different people get into some lurid activities, if you will. So it definitely checks that box as well. So that's a good little movie. I'm at B actually.
Yeah, I would give it a B. Like this one was
I
released a couple times actually, under a few different titles.
I liked it. Yep.
Matthew was one of them actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
Now I have to find that. I have to find the Matthew poster. All right.
George,
so next,
the host that we're talking about is Perfect Host.
Yeah. So, it had a sequel. Oh, sweet. Oh no, he's asking if it had a sequel. Well, I would watch the sequel if there was one to Matthew or Scream Bloody Murder. So let's move on to Canon Day. So Canon Day is a special day. It's on every Junesploitation as far as I've been involved. And so when it comes to this list, I really want to expand my my film watching. And if nothing else, I don't like to get bored. So I don't want to get stuck in the same type of movie. You could see the last couple of movies were kind of violent, maybe slashery. Well, 2 out of 3 most certainly were slashers. So I took a pause and I watched a little fairy tale to start the day, and we went with Rumpelstiltskin. This is a recent pickup from Dollar Tree. This retails for about $1.25 US plus tax, and you could probably still find it in your local Dollar Tree. And this is okay. I'm okay at it. This DVD copy was fine. The investment paid off. I enjoyed the movie enough that I didn't feel like I wasted any money, so that was good. Have you ever seen Rumpelstiltskin?
Yeah, is that? I'm trying to. Is that part of the fairy tale series?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if they did one with because I remember Shelley Duvall doing a fairy tale series, but I don't think that was canon. Yeah, I think this was part of the canon, fairy tale canon.
No, they did canon a few of those, right?
Oh yeah, there's definitely more to be had. I don't know offhand which ones, unfortunately, but I know that they exist out there, and if for nothing else, I'm definitely picking up at Austin Chernick's the Canon guide. I'm definitely gonna get the Canon film guide sooner rather than later. But as far as this movie's concerned, I'll say this: it had songs throughout the movie. Excuse me, Amy Irving, David Irving, Amy Irving, thinking there's a little relationship right there, but I didn't look too much into it. Yeah, I would say about half the songs are decent. Half the songs, are just straight schmaltz. Which you'll get with these kind of B movie musicals. In my opinion, this is one.
So where would you rate this one? I would go with C.
I'm at C too. I might watch it again, but probably not. Billy Barty plays plays Rumpelstiltskin. He's pretty good. Amy Irving's great. Her voice is great. She's definitely the best singer out of the bunch. So I'm being a little generous with that. So, all right, we're still in canon, and we're gonna go with a comedy. Now, this one was one I streamed. I have a really long Letterboxd review, but this one is called "Over the Brooklyn Bridge" from 1984. and it was directed by Menahem Golan. Now, this is actually pretty good. I haven't seen that many Golan directed movies so far. I think he did Revenge of the Ninja.
Yeah.
I don't think he did Enter. I think he did Revenge. Whichever one he did was okay. I definitely enjoy the 3 ninja movies before we get into American Ninja.
Did you do the Apple?
I haven't seen the Apple yet. That's why I'm saying I'm like, I can't say that. I don't know if the Apple's going to do any better than this because I really like this movie. It really kind of takes the similar kind of note that. Do you remember that movie? Was it Hey Papa? Hey Papa, the one with Ruth Gordon and
Okay, yeah,
and George. Who am I thinking of? He just passed. Anyway, George Siegel. So it kind of takes a similar like note. Instead of just like having Mama with him, he has his whole family. You could say that like Shelley Winter kind of takes on that Ruth Gordon part in this movie, and you've got Elliot Gould replacing the George Siegel character. And I mean, hey, I mean, I'm two of my favorite actors, so I mean, it's not a bad trade off at all, to say the least. So I think what's really like they get to really some funny situations in here. I think the one with George Siegel gets a little dated with the jokes. This one, not so much. And I gotta tell you, let me just say there's a scene where Burt Young has to help Elliot Gould. He plays Albie. He's a diabetic, and he doesn't take care of himself that well. So he's trying to help him take a pee, and it's really funny. But there's another part in the movie that I thought was like really heartfelt. Might be my favorite moment so far, at least, or maybe the whole Exploitation, where he's trying to call. Now it involves a love affair, or not a love affair, but a relationship with Margot Hemingway, the older one, not Muriel, not Rosanna, I'm getting different names in here. But yeah, it's like so she's okay in it, but he's kind of like, they don't want him to marry her, and she's not like from the same background. Like, she's from Philly. I think they're Jewish in this movie. Because Sid Caesar's his like uncle owns like this, like he's like a garment, he's in the garment district, so he's like a dress salesman. Very really funny. But anyway, there's a part where he's on the phone. So Elliot Gould's on the phone with Margot, and he's trying to, basically, it's kind of like, trying to pick up their relationship, because I believe at this point in the movie they're kind of split apart. And there's this homeless guy, right? I don't know if you remember this, or you recall this if you saw it, but there's a homeless guy that's like, he keeps on like motioning for like a cigarette, right? And like, Elliot Gould's too busy on his phone calls. He's like, nah, dude, I'm just, I'm on the phone. Like, and so this guy, he doesn't care. He ends up taking a piss right on the phone booth. Just opens up, starts peeing, and then like he's just like trying to either talk to her or leave a message. I forget which one. But as he's leaving, it's great. Something happens that sparks a better mood in Elliot's character. And he walks away, and he's still got the homeless guy still mouthing for like a cigarette, and he stops, and he comes back with a full pack of cigarettes, hands it to him. They do this all silent, right? Hands it to him, and then like the homeless guy takes out a cigarette and puts it in Elliot Gould's mouth. And Elliot Gould's like, okay, and then he takes out the lighter and he lights it for him. It was like the sweetest thing of the whole movie. And then like he like hands him the cigarette, and this like interplay between the two of them is like magic, and it's easily one of the most enjoyable things I had all month. So I'm definitely putting an A for that one. I'm shooting that one to an A. That moment was, I don't even know how Menahem Golan could pull off such a cinematic moment, but that was beautiful, man. He really knocked that part out of the park.
I'll definitely agree with that one. So where do we go from there?
All right. Sorry. So next, I watched a DVD to finish off the night. So I watched Brooklyn Bridge over the day, and then this one was at night, and I finished off the night with a little Cobra action. Oh,
I put the wrong one in there.
yeah, Cobra's the bomb. I mean, there's nothing. It's one of my favorite genres, Aaron. I don't know if we've ever talked about this genre, where you have the action hero versus serial killer. Perfect. You got 10 to Midnight with Charles Bronson. You got what is it? Silent Rage with Chuck Norris. You got Dirty Harry.
Aaron the Terror.
You know what's so cool about Dirty Harry? Because Dirty Harry's definitely action hero versus serial killer. But Andrew Robinson from Dirty Harry, the Scorpio, the serial killer from that, is a cop in this movie. So yeah, let's go Cobra. We're cutting up slices of pizza with scissors, and only eating a part of it, throwing out the crust.
We got a beautiful Bridget Nielsen.
Arguably the best part of the pizza. Oh man, what is there else to say about Cobra? I mean, what's your take on Cobra?
I've always loved Cobra. Like it's one of those. It's the okay at this period of time, like when action movies, we had a lot of these kind of over top action heroes like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and guys like that, and everything. And it seemed like every time they made a script, it was like, okay, what are the coolest lines that they can say? Let's write a script around that.
Right.
And that's literally what Cobra is, right? Somebody's like, "You're the disease, I'm the cure."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, okay, now let's write a script around that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, hey, wait, let's see.
Isn't dirty enough.
Who wrote this thing now? So Sylvester Stallone is credited as the screenplay, so he's giving himself the best lines, hands down. Wow. Okay, well, that's interesting.
I'm not gonna lie, I would put this in S tier. I by the way, guys, just
we can bump it. I have it at a B. I'm like, it's not my favorite of the genre. I love 10 to Midnight.
Well, 10 minutes is it 10 to Midnight's a Stone Cold classic. You just can't beat 10
So if you're putting in S and I'm putting in B, can we put in A and maybe split the difference? Then we can talk about it later.
Definitely. We'll hit the split difference. By the way, I'm just so you know, I'm missing some like the chats into I'm seeing them on my iPad, but I'm not seeing them on my screen. So if I can't pop your chat up on the screen, I do apologize. Thank you, Malcolm. But my chat stopped like showing up on my screen at 9:09.
Oh,
so,
I'm sorry. All right, well,
we'll
try to shout him out when we see him. Make some funny so I could say some funny stuff. All right. So next, okay, so we had Canon. Next, I think was another first for Exploitation, especially at least in my experience. But it was Fred Williamson Day. Fred Williamson. Maybe I can get that out. The Hammer. Oh yeah.
Next one is though.
Now let's put it this way. Jim Brown just recently passed away, maybe like in May, at the end of May or something like that. I forget the day, but so I want to pay tribute to Jim, and one of his frequent co-stars is Fred Williamson. So I went with Take a Hard Ride from 1975, directed by the ever super fun to say Antonio Margheriti. And you got to get that. You got to get your hand out, Margheriti. This is a decent flick, man. I like this a lot. I must admit I wasn't paying 100% close attention while this was playing, but the rough plot is basically Jim Brown is a secret thief, so he is a foreman and he's charged with bringing money from one place to another. But what they don't know about it is he's actually, he either is a thief or he killed somebody, and Lee Van Cleef's the bounty hunter after him. Now, what happens is he gets attacked by other parties that want after this money, including the Hammer. So Fred Williamson comes to help him, kind of, but he's kind of they kind of have an agreement where, like maybe we'll be okay, as far as we get to the end, and when we get to the end, then I'm going to shoot you and take the money. So you basically got like a three-way kind of thing going, but like Hammer's his buddy, for a good chunk of the movie, and yeah, I liked it. Do you ever see this one?
I did. I went on a kick of like exploitation films for a bit, and this was one of the ones that I actually watched. I remember I watched Chef Goes to Africa, I think.
Oh, that's a good one. Any of the
The was it the Black Gestapo? This one right here, Take a Hard Ride, and there was around two or three others. Malcolm asked if you saw the special feature interview with him on Whatever It Takes.
with Fred Williamson.
Yeah.
No, but is that the
The
that's
VSA.
the VS? Yeah, I don't have a lot of VSAs, to be honest with you. I don't know. I mean, that was one I wanted, but when it was for sale, like the price point that I was at, I missed it. So I'll
Was it
probably end up
$10?
grabbing it if it comes available to me. But definitely a movie I'm gonna, I would definitely sit down and watch it. That's the one with Don the Dragon, right?
Don Dragon Wilson, Andrew Dice Clay, and Fred Williamson.
Oh, yeah. Then I'm definitely gonna watch it with Dice Man in it too. But okay, I'll say this. We talked about unsung horrors earlier. Actually, Lance shouted me out on the podcast because we watched the same movie, or watched this one as part of our calendar. So I was like, sweet, like you shout me out, so I got to shout you out. I just got to give him a little bit of love. And what I really liked about this, and we talked about Minneapolis Matt, he loves dummy drops. I love him too, and this has a double dummy drop that has to be experienced. A double, and now I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure it's a double because like there's like a dummy drop and then there's like another drop. So I can't necessarily tell if it's a double single or just a double drop, but I'm about 99% sure we get at least two dummies going down at the same time, which is like double the dummy drop fun, in my opinion.
I love that. I love the arms.
Oh, it's fantastic. Now I was looking at this on Blu-ray.com, and they have a Timeless Media Group multi-pack that has, and I would love to get this, Butch and Sundance: The Early Years, The Last Hard Men, Real Conchos, and this film. So I'm down. I'm buying that if I ever find it. Definitely picking that one up.
William Cat's and Butch and Sundance earlier, so I love William Cat. Where do you rate this one?
I'm at a B. We could probably push it to an A, but I'm at a B. I'll definitely watch this again.
Like it's definitely it's almost an A category. It's like teetering for me.
Yeah, I'm
sure.
So
you're asked here. So seeing most of the DVDs, so do you collect DVDs for the great prices over Blu-ray or just?
So my philosophy, I have a certain price point on Blu-rays, currently, and it might adjust. But I don't buy, I don't like go after like all the special editions. I just can't do it. I pick and choose. Like we talked about having Road Games. Like that was a movie I wanted to collect. I like Richard Franklin. I love Road Games. Might be my favorite Australian movie. So I got the nice little, I think that was an Indicator set. Can't remember which one because there's so many There's so many boutique labels that start with I. So, but Indicator. But now I just buy with need. So now if I like to do a significant amount of thrifting. We'll get to some thrifting stories in a moment. But yeah, like I just buy for movie. Like I just want to, if it's something I want to watch, I'll scoop it up. If it's something that I know that I'm thinking about it and I know there's a better copy of it, I'll pick that up. And then later on, I'll buy the special edition. But with all the podcasts, videos on YouTube, such as your own, it kind of doesn't replace, but it kind of supplements these movies in such a way that I don't feel bad just getting the movie if it has no supplements, if I get it at a decent price. So that's why I've kind of relaxed myself as far as my collecting is concerned. And I've definitely grew my my DVD collection unwittingly in the process. So
that's actually an excellent point because I'll say right now I'm a huge Doctor Who collector. I collect a lot of Doctor Who stuff, and I got like the Blu-ray sets. When they come out, the series is the classic Doctor Who. But the best Doctor Who feature that I've ever seen, and he did them by Doctor, was Clever Dick Films. Did like really kind of like feature quality, like little like kind of visual essay documentaries on each of the characters, and you see so much of that.
On each of the
Whether it's
characters?
like, oh yeah, like he went through like he went Tom Baker, he went through all the Doctor Who's before, and it was amazing. Like it was like the quality of something you would see. It was better than the quality of something that you'd see on the BBC releases. And I think with right now, and I think this is where companies should be looking because, and they're starting to, like Heath, like Serial Midnight, for instance. And I know that Brian from Just the Disc did a commentary. That's something I would love to do
Yeah.
in the future. So you're seeing more people that have done podcasts and people that have been on YouTube that are doing like commentaries or being put into documentaries like In Search of Darkness and stuff like that. I think your future for like special features is right here.
Well, you mentioned In Search of Darkness. I'll just quickly mention that Heather Wixson, who was in the docs themselves, and I think produced them, she's working with Patrick Bromley at this movie of Exploitation on the book. So they're basically coming out. They're working on the coffee table book of In Search of Darkness.
Actually.
It's pricey, but yeah, it might be worth the investment. And I think I'm a big enough fan of 80s horror that, I definitely would dive in. I have a little tail of the tape. Most of the movies I watch are from the 80s for this calendar. So it wasn't a goal, but it just happens. Let's push on. All right. So we're going into Kung Fu. All right. Now, Aaron, I told you my philosophy. I want to try to hit up as many different countries, as many different types of movies as I possibly can. So we're starting off in Chile with Mirage Man. Mirage Man, straightforward, like hero story, and you mix in your, little superhero, little self-made superhero, not unlike, like super movies with Rainn Wilson or Mystery Men or something like that. So he takes it, he has something that happens to him when he's younger with him and his brother, and there's a rising crime element when he's much older, and so he takes the law in his own hands. It's pretty much it. It's pretty much cut and dry. Gotta say, I did enjoy this movie. I thought it was pretty well made. It's not overdoing. It's not overstepping where it should go. It's definitely what you would expect on this. It doesn't let you down in that way. You know what I mean? Where you can kind of see some of where the movie's going, but not in like a negative way. It's a fun movie, and so in that regard, I'm putting it in a B because
I'll be honest, I don't remember it.
It's pretty good. Yeah. I liked it. And there were some things. What's really cool too, and I'm sorry if I'm spoiling this for somebody. I really am. So if you want to bump ahead about, if you're watching it on replay, bump ahead about 20, 30 seconds. But it has one of the awesomest and strangest needle drops I've ever had. So I don't want to spoil too much about it, but let's say like he gets involved with a reporter that's in the movie that reports on his like activity, and she gets him into her pad, and she needle drops Life on Mars by David Bowie.
I love that song.
One of my favorites. But it was like in the middle of this, I'm like, whoa. It was, it's like kind of a little bit weird. Now, is there life on Mars? I don't know, but he came up on this movie, so
I had to ask you this question. Put a full stop to this for a second. Actually, this very important question, because me and my better half had this argument all the time. Okay, Life on Mars or Ashes song?
Now, as far as I'm concerned, that's a really tough call. All right.
It is.
I'll just do real like quick background on Bowie with me and just say that he has helped me out. Just his music and reading about him and stuff like that, movies have helped me out of like some tough times in my life. And like Ashes to Ashes is kind of like, for me, is like one of those songs that kind of helped me get over like huge like troubles that I've had in my life, you know. So it's really hard, and I really like, I feel like Life on Mars is like kind of that the same in that same respect. But I gotta go Ash with Ashes, and I tell you why. It's the bass line, boom boom boom, boom. Or I'm doing it wrong, but that constant bass line in that song is amazing. Oh
I
man,
go with Life on Mars.
I can't
Well, my
even
better
not with
half
that
goes
bass
with
line.
Ashes.
All right, let's push on with Kung Fu. So we're taking a ticket from Chile and we're going straight to Thailand. This time we're going with Dynamite Warrior. Have you seen this, Aaron? Oh man, have you seen Dynamite Warrior?
I think I have actually.
Okay. This is a little bit. All right.
Remember.
So Dynamite. Did we put Mirage Man B, right? Because that's where
I think I put the right one in there.
Did you? No, you didn't.
I didn't.
No, you did not.
What did I put there? Did I put Dynamite Warrior there?
No, you know what it was? It's right on the end. It is the Iron Fisted Monk. It's the Sammo Hung movie. Yeah, that guy. So you just like switch that one up.
I gotta find American Man here.
I'm trying to see where your cursor is so I can point it out. But
let's say.
I don't know.
Me win a star.
I mean, it definitely didn't look like that. Like they definitely had a different poster. Ooh, there you are.
Fisted Monk, Ninja Wars? No.
You know what? We'll let's just move on and we'll clear them out later.
Yeah,
I know he's a B. I got it worried. No worry about that. So anyway, Dynamite Warrior. They kind of, it's not a cheat. I mean, they're telling a story at a time where dynamite didn't really exist. What it really has is rockets, and it's really cool. There's like more than one scene where he does some unbelievable thing where this character is like riding on rockets, like literally like they're strapped to his feet and he's just like flying along and throwing like different rockets that, you know, he like shoots at rockets at people. There's some gross foo in here. I'll definitely say that. There's a character that like will do anything for food. There is a storyline that has to do with virgin menstrual blood, and that's the only time I'm going to say that during this podcast or this video. It's the only time I'm going to bring that up. But somehow they use it. It's magical and somehow breaks the spell. This is a bonkers, man. Oh yeah, and no spoilers, but a buffalo is ridden off into the sunset. So if no other reason, it gets a B for me because I'm from Buffalo, New York. So you ride a buffalo in your movie, you get definitely a rewatch for me. This movie is bonkers.
Seven hits the B category. I think a couple of ones that I put on here just didn't go through. I think that's what it is.
And I mean, if you talk about the movie, it's like this guy has to wrestle with cattle rustlers and stuff like that. Like you read the plot, and it's like not the bonkersness that you get out of that movie. So now we're gonna take one bonkers movie for another. We're gonna go to Hong Kong, and we're gonna check out some Kung Fu Hustle. This is my last movie for Kung Fu Day. Of course, starring, written, and directed by Stephen Chow, who also did Shaolin Soccer. I mean, he's done other movies too, but this has got to be it for me as far as, you know, his movies are concerned. This will be my favorite, hands down. Love the silliness of this movie. You know what I mean? I think that yeah. Have you? What's your experience with Kung Fu Hustle?
Actually, this is one that my better half had before we got together. I actually like the movie, and my better half loves it. She picked it up long before I met her. So I dig this one. For me, this is, you know, between a B and an A.
Yeah. I think I would put it in A. I think the Looney Tunes type kung fu in the movie definitely plays to its strengths, and you know, like they're just it's just an entertaining movie. I don't know how else to say it. There's dancing, there's kung fu, there's humor. What else more could you want out of a movie? I mean, I don't think it gets that sexy, but you know, I mean, this definitely makes up for it in that crazy action.
Well, it's a different type of exploitation. That's the
Yeah.
thing, right? People sometimes like we got asked a few times, like, what does this exploit? Like, exploitation movies don't have to actually exploit anything. As it could like as far as like you know, like nudity or that. It could just be like that a certain type of film is popular at a time. So exploitation, like, okay, there's Bruce exploitation movies that are right now that are at a certain period of time.
Well, we'll
Or
get to
Kung Fu is popular. Like I do apologize. Some of the movies didn't come onto the tier list, even though I had them there.
That's
So
okay.
that sometimes happens. Sometimes, just so you guys know when you're doing these things.
Do you want me to make note? Because I can just circle them and then we can just kind of. I don't
Yeah,
know if we want to do it. All right. So
because I don't have the list here like you do.
so there was. I don't think we have Mirage Man, and actually you can read it pretty well if you're using the poster from Letterboxd. So we'll say that one, and then I think we saw Dynamite Warrior down there, didn't we?
We don't have Dynamite
We
Warrior.
don't have okay, that's okay.
We don't have Mirage Man, and we don't have Kung Fu Hustle. So
No
it's like
worries.
the day's missing. So it's almost like the day's missing.
All right. Well, that's okay. Not a big deal. And you said no Kung Fu Hustle. You didn't have that one.
Yeah, which we'll put in the A category.
I would put it in A for sure. Yeah. Let's move on to this is 80s horror. Now, I mean, we're just talking about In Search of Darkness. How many options do you get out of 80s horror with with the movies that even come out of that documentary?
So much
great.
Three
yeah. Now, okay. Now I took a drastically different turn for my 80s horror. And now some of these work out in a certain way. For 80s horror day, like maybe I wanted to watch more than one movie, but I only got to one. It was great nonetheless, but it wasn't necessarily one like I probably would have tried to grab like, who knows, a slasher movie, a monster alien movie, something like that. But I ended up watching an anime, which was awesome. I always want to try to bring in an anime to any list that I do because, I have some kids that, some of our kids like anime a lot. And, I really dig 80s and 90s. So I went with Wicked City from 1987. Have you ever seen Wicked City?
Yeah, both versions.
So because they did the live action, right?
Yeah, I have the anime and I got the live action version. Like the live action, I think got a snapper case.
The anime version is excellent in all intents and purposes. It is an awesome, well constructed movie, but also really messed up. I mean, okay, so you have a human cop, you have a demon cop, and they have to join together to bring peace to their two worlds because there's a peace treaty that's expiring. And you get spider ladies that have teeth and spots that they've made other horror movies about. They have, you have like thing-like demons that pop out like out of like bodies and just fly at people. This is great. I mean, I don't want to undersell it and I don't want to and not do it justice, but I don't want to oversell it and spoil the whole thing. But I'm teetering between an S and an A for this one. This is awesome.
I would put it in an S. I would definitely put Wicked City. If it was the Wicked City, the live action would go a lot lower. But Wicked City,
that's what I heard.
Anime, 100% an S.
No, I'll say this too. It's directed by Yoshiaki Kawajiri. He also did Demon City Shinjuku, which I watched in October for one of these calendars. That was also good. He did the Animatrix. He did some that Batman Gotham Knights. That was really cool. That the anime set that they put out. But I'm going after Goku Midnight Eye next, and maybe Ninja Scroll if I get to it. So
Ninja Scroll is so much fun.
But yeah, let's go into Westerns. So anyway, didn't watch as many movies as I wanted to for 80s horror. Definitely made up for Westerns. And we went for more physical treats. First off, I wanted to hit up another country I hadn't been to. we didn't get to Australia yet. So the true history of the Kelly gang, yet another Ned Kelly movie. They made a pile of these movies. This is Ned Kelly in this movie is George McKay. He was also in 1917, which I missed. But familiar faces nonetheless in this movie. You get Nicholas Hoult, Charlie Hunnam, Russell Crowe, an exceptional performance by Essie Davis, and I don't think that she is capable of not giving an exceptional, great performance. She plays Ned Kelly's mom in the movie, and I mean, oh wow, she's the best. She easily is the best part of the movie. She's just great, and it's not like the movie suffers when she's not in it, but you definitely are like, what's Essie up to? What's her character? What's she doing? Because obviously he's a man. It takes his it takes his experience from a very young boy to a man. So you're following his story. It's not her story, but yeah, I wouldn't mind watching hers either. She was exceptional. Yeah, I'm at a B for this one. Have you seen this one?
I'm pretty sure. What's the name of it again?
It is The True History of Ned Kelly, and it was released. This is a Shout Factory DVD. This was 2020 was the year. Looks like it might have been released 2019 in Australia. Yeah, it was pretty good. I would definitely watch it again. It wasn't my favorite, but I didn't hate it. I liked it. And Essie Davis was exceptional.
I'd say a B. C to B. What do you think?
Yeah, B's good.
B.
Yeah, B sounds good to me.
Yet another one it's like there's 2 days that are missing from.
That's all right. We'll just keep it. No, you said Wicked City that wasn't there, or that was?
Wicked City wasn't there, but it's an S. Definitely.
Okay, that's fine. All right. So the next one was a Blu-ray. This one I also picked up at Dollar Tree. So yeah, visit your Dollar Tree. You want cheap stuff, and sometimes you might have to visit a couple times or dig, but there's good stuff to be had. All right, now this is a Mill Creek spaghetti double feature. This also was randomly picked out of 8 spaghetti westerns, because I had a couple of these, not from Mill Creek, but I had a couple of spaghetti western sets. So anyway, I picked $4 of Revenge. All right, now this doubled here with The Last Gun with Cameron Mitchell, which I have seen before. And just to say, Last Gun, a bit boring, a little bit. $4 for Revenge. You kind of want to find out where the rest of those dollars of Revenge were, because I don't think it was okay, but very forgettable.
Yeah. It's a C.
It's definitely a C. Long story short, this guy gets wrongfully imprisoned for stealing Confederate gold. He gets thrown in jail, and then he comes back for revenge, and he's not the same person because he grew a beard.
Well, there you go. As you can tell, I grew a beard, and I'm totally not the same person.
Not the same person, but amen for that, Aaron, because I am deficient in the beard department, unfortunately. So I can get a little stubble, and that's about it. But yeah, that's a C. Now I had some, Klaus Kinski led and George Hilton led spaghetti westerns that might have fared well, but I still wanted to watch the rest of this, having already watched Last Gun. So let's move on. And you know what? Definitely. So that's a C, right? Do we have some? Yeah, we have $4 Justice, so that's good. This is easily my favorite Western of the day, and we went with a little Clint Eastwood, Outlaw Josie Wales. This definitely has a Blu-ray, but I found it, I thrifted it, and it was like I bought it and it went right in. This was also a random pick too. But you know what was cool about this one? Now, I asked Twitter, whoever was following the Junesploitation hashtag, I asked Twitter to choose between this movie, Mario Van Peebles' Posse, and the Train Robbers with the Duke and Margaret. And they chose this one, and what was there to say about this? This is one of my favorite Westerns. I love this movie.
They chose right.
It's not even a Western.
Twitter chose right.
I think so too, and I think Twitter will choose right when I do this in the throughout the calendar. But I think that Clint has a very stoic power to him. He is a rebel without a cause. The South is lost. He doesn't want to give up the goat, for lack of a better word, and he's just gonna keep on running. And he meets different people along the way, played by Sandra Locke, his wife, and great performance by Chief Jan George, which I would pick up just for him because his lines alone are fantastic. Like, just his kind of, not even his lines, but like his character's like point of view. And it definitely contrasts quite nicely. He's kind of, he's a Native American. He has a lot of wisdom, but he's also like, he has experience being from the tribe that he comes from. So like, he definitely explains a little bit better than I do, but within the movie. But yeah, great counterbalance to Clint in that movie.
So where'd you about this one?
Oh, I'm at an A+. I don't know if I can put it in S, but we could probably bump it there. S is looking a little bit long. Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. So next one, animals. Okay. Now, Anthony King, I was talking about from F This Movie in the Cult Movies podcast. He took one of my movies that I watched, so I took one of his picks. So I joined his Patreon, and he did a pre-game type of deal for Exploitation. This was one of his selections. This is Boar. I picked this this DVD up. It is also on Shudder.
Yep.
But I have the DVD, so if I choose to or not to pay for Shudder, I'm gonna watch it anyway. And not my favorite big pig movie, but hey, man, this is pretty decent.
I liked it. I mean, like, it's I got the DVD of this one too. Actually, I got this in Walmart. They're really cheap, actually. They're like $14 or something like that in Canada, which I'm guessing is like $10 in the United States. But I think it was definitely a B tier for me.
Yeah, I'm B or C. Depending on how you like me that day, or how I like it that day. I mean, it's good, not great, and it has its moments. The gore's good. One of my favorite moments of the movie was this part where Nathan Jones, big Nathan Jones, I forget what movie he was in off the top of my head, but he, if you've seen the guy, he's just a big stunt man, and he's listening to Ice Ice Baby as he's in his like Range Rover, just like cruising along, right? And then all of a sudden, like, of course, the boar has to like gore the side of the truck with him in it, but yeah, it was definitely worth it for him to like just do a little, to Ice Ice Baby. If nothing else, this month had some very, very strange and entertaining needle drops for me. So
it's no Razorback, but it's
no. And I watched Razorback like maybe last week, and I can attest Razorback is awesome. So this is good. Razorback, awesome. So let's move on to the next Free Space. Now, Aaron, like I originally planned to do another one of these roulettes, Blu-ray or DVD roulette, where I'm getting a random pick from something. But Treat Williams passed away around this time in the month.
Yeah.
Maybe a week prior. So I had never seen Prince of the City, so I had to stream it, and I paid good money for it, and it was money that was well spent. That was, I mean, arguably my favorite watch of the month.
So I'm going to guess that's an S tier right away.
Yeah, you can put it right up there if you want. We talk.
Oh, I will. Actually, I love that film. I'm a big Treat Williams fan. I watched Hair actually the day that he passed away, because that's a favorite of mine and kind of early role for him.
Yeah, and it's Milos Forman, and definitely fits in his oeuvre. I think that I don't know. I mean, I really like Hair, but I think the performances in this movie
are fantastic. Prince City.
You know what's really cool? Okay, so like now, if I rated this, like I rated this on Letterboxd a 4.5, it would have gotten a 5 if they would have like just kind of streamlined some of the things. Not that it got repetitive, but it was a little drawn out. But his performance was so nuanced. I mean, you're watching a guy that's let's tell the passage of time by how hoarse his voice gets. He's so long story short, he's a cop. He's one of these prince of the cities. He's kind of like a freebie in the bean, right? So not that he's taken payola. It's not like he's taken bribes or anything like that, but he's very comfortable. He gets hooked up. He takes care of his informants. If his informants need a fix, he finds it for him. If the guy won't give him the fix, he'll beat the crap out of him to get him the fix, from the dealer or whatever have you. So I guess he gets at some point gets disillusioned and ends up recording and trying to uncover real corruption in the police department. Again, this is a very long film, but definitely worth it. And you can definitely pick out now. Brian De Palma, kept up a lot of the development of this movie. I would, if you will, he was involved early on, before it went to Sidney Lumet. So you can kind of see what part of that movie came out and he put into Blowout, without spoiling anything of the two movies. But if you watch both of them, it's kind of glaring what inspired him. I think that they pulled it off well. I really liked how I really liked how it was edited with the chapters. They had like little chapter breaks, to break it up. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
It's great. Who else? Jerry Orbach's in it. He's like kind of like a blink and you see him, but I mean, it's a Jerry Orbach performance in a movie. I mean, if it's not a must watch before that, it is now. And also to note, you can buy this on Blu-ray from Warner Archive, and it's definitely one I'm gonna try to pick up at some point.
I need to get that one to myself, actually. All
right. Well, let's we're pretty much about, let's say, halfway there. I think we can muscle through some of them. The next one most certainly. So we're onto ripoffs. Okay. So I mean, ripoffs can be great. This movie wasn't. We were talking about Bruceploitation earlier. So I have this set called the Ultimate Dragon set, 10 film set.
I know where we're going.
All right. We've got Bruce Lee. We've got Dragon Lee. We've got Bruce Lee. We have another man called Bruce Leong who stars in this movie called The Dragon Lives Again. I'm going to let you take a little bit of this. What do you think about The Dragon Lives Again?
It's insane. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. Everybody, Popeye's in this movie. It's such a strange, weird movie. Weirdly, here's the thing. This is something that I don't know if I'd put it high for entertainment value or low for ineptitude.
Right?
There's an argument for both sides.
I mean, okay. If you watch this by yourself, you're going to have a dreadful time. Try to follow the plot. Try to invest in this movie. It's impossible. If you watch it with an audience, now we're talking about Matt before. I'm sorry to bring him up again, but MLPS Matt from Minnesota, he saw this for, I don't remember if it was for ripoffs, but he saw this for this calendar during this month, but it was at a screening. And he thought it was amazing. And at least the experience was great. I watched this for the second time by myself. And I'll admit, the first time I watched it like on Discord. So I watched it with other people. And I had an enjoyable experience. But I'll tell you this. The scenes wear out their welcome. The kung fu it doesn't like lift the movie up. It's very neutral. It's not like bad kung fu, bad martial arts, bad movement, but it doesn't like excite me. Then, like on paper, it sounds great. You have Bruce Lee being resurrected. He has to fight Dracula. He has to fight Emmanuel. He has to fight James Bond. He has to fight the man with no name. He gets to befriend Popeye. He befriends the one-armed swordsman. Okay, do you think that they exploit all these different characters like in equally? No, and that's to the movie's detriment. They spend so much time with Emmanuel, and it definitely has that high sleaze, like not just from her character, but it definitely has a high sleaze like level in this movie. But like it just gets so boring, and she was fine, but like just to her, the scenes just kept getting to be a bore, and I can't anymore. Even Zatoichi couldn't save this one. I put it in a D. This is my first D of the calendar. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I just
Like
couldn't.
this is one, like it's definitely a D. It's something that's fun to watch with a group of people and just like to riff it.
Oh man.
But that's really the best way to watch it. It's like it is a painful experience if you don't.
It's like torture. It's like you're going to torture yourself. And I'm sorry, but when I watch movies and I put something on when I'm watching, just hanging out by myself, like I want to be at least entertained. Well, at the most basic level, and it couldn't even get there.
And ironically, it fits exploitation, like
Oh,
what
to a
people
T.
think of exploitation more than anything else on the list so far. But that being said,
I just can't.
yeah.
So
Okay, what's the
I
next
had
one?
to rectify the situation, and the best way I know how was by watching a movie from the ripoff masters themselves, Italy, and I watched Endgame. Ooh, let me get a good one. There we go. Endgame. This is not the Avengers Endgame. Okay. Although, and if you don't, unfortunately, you don't get Avengers in this, but you do get Black Emmanuel as a telepathic mutant, and she like kind of leads a band of mutants. So it's kind of like the X-Men, like, and you get like you get El Chiver. He's like just kind of serviceable as a Mad Max doppel. Yeah, it's all right. It kind of like you can tell they just try to put everything in this movie as
Have fun with thinking. Where do you put it?
I'm gonna C, maybe a B, but I would say C. I would watch this again. George Eastman's in it. He's the opposite. I don't think they use him enough, but he's pretty good. I'll tell you what. I didn't realize how tall George Eastman was until I watched this.
Oh, yeah.
I did not realize how giant that man is. They even had him in Absurd, which I've watched a couple times now,
Fantastic.
and he doesn't even come off that as tall as he does in this movie.
He's a giant of a guy, and he actually wrote a lot of the films he was into.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we're gonna leave ripoffs and we're gonna go to the Yakuza, which, again, from what I've heard, this is a new one. They haven't done Yakuza before. Now, many of my friends, especially in like Unsung Horrors, in that Discord group, as well as on Twitter when I follow, we're going straight 60s and 70s, for their Yakuza movies. Nothing wrong with that. Me, I had to go with my man Beat Takashi. We're going with 2010's Outrage.
Okay.
With Beat Takashi. It also has I'm going to forget the names, but I'm just going to explain who they are. So you have the guy that plays the creepy uncle stepdad character from Audition as one of the gangsters in this movie. You also have the gentleman that loses his head, spoiler alert, in Kill Bill 1 is in this movie, as well as another prominent Yakuza member. Basically, like, okay, if you're gonna join the Yakuza, maybe not, like, maybe don't make any pacts. Don't make any agreements. I think I noted in one of my reviews, a pact in this movie is as good as a pinky swear. If you know anything about Yakuza, if you dishonor someone, you gotta trade him a pinky. Man, this movie, like, you just don't want to be involved with any of this Yakuza BS.
So where do you put Outrage?
It was good though. Yeah, I'm putting it at a B. it didn't have a dummy drop. It had a dummy pull.
See, for me, I would normally put this at a C, but it's at a B because it's got Beat Takeshi, and I love that actor. Two, I also love Takeshi's Castle. So
Yeah. Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
the other reason.
And MXC, which was what they turned it into in the United States.
His favorite. Like,
I love that. Also, like, yeah, like I don't want to spoil too much, but like they made a sequel to this movie. If you watch Outrage, you're gonna kind of be like, okay, how do they pull this off? So I'm not gonna spoil that. But yeah, no, I like it, and I will say this as well: how crazy the Yakuza stuff is in Japan. My a friend of my wife's has like a koi, like a Japanese tattoo on her body. She went to like a spa in Japan, and they're like, "You leave, Yakuza." They wouldn't even let her in the door. They asked her to go because at fear that they might be a Yakuza member, and so yeah, if you have tattoos on your body, or if you want to choose, like maybe think a little bit before you get that tattoo, and then when you have the tattoo, think before you travel. We'll just be mindful. All right. Do you want to swing into probably the most favored day of the calendar?
go.
All right. So on June 17th, it's Maestro Fulci's birthday, so it's Fulci Day on Exploitation. I like to go with new watches. So I started with now I streamed all three of these movies. I do have some Fulci in my collection, but not a whole bunch. Some of the good stuff, some of my favorites. But I started with A Touch of Death from 1988, and I watched it as a midnight movie. So I waited until yep, Touch of Death. I waited till right after midnight to start this one. And it was definitely perfect time to be watching Touch of Death with Brett Halsey. So he plays like a guy that's kind of obsessed with like women with disabilities. So he kind of goes after women that have like either social problems or disabilities. It's like he uses some kind of dating service, and he kills them. I don't know how to say it. It's pretty good. And the gore, is pretty. It's indicative of the filmmaking. I say is indicative of late era Fulci, or
Would you
80s,
put this in
late
like
80s.
a B or C? Would you say?
B. Yeah, I'm gonna solid B. And if you have your Cat in the Brain, some of these scenes come back in Cat in the Brain. And there's a Raro video Blu-ray of this one. All right, the second Fulci that we had was They Die with Their Boots On, aka Silver Saddle, which was good. This is my third year doing Junesploitation, so it's my third Fulci day. I did Westerns every year. So first year was Four for the Apocalypse, second was Massacre Time, then Silver Saddle. I think Silver Saddle was good, but I don't like him as much as the other two. What's your opinion?
No, I would pretty much go with that. So for this one here, would you go with like?
Well, I'm in a B or a C. I fell asleep during this movie.
So we're gonna put it in C.
Let's put it in C. The detective from Tenebrae is in it though, Giuliani Gemma. So that's good. Now, okay, here's the main course for Fulci Day. And so I also streamed this. It is 1969's The Conspiracy of Torture, aka Beatrice Cenci. This is phenomenal. I have it marked as an A. We could probably put it in the S category, just based on a filmmaking alone, which is exceptional, top tier. I forget the man that worked on the that did the photography for the movie, but he had experience before that, a lot, and you can definitely tell. I'll say this: the split diopter shots are so fantastic in this movie, and if I boiled it down to three things, it would be split diopter, it would be torture, and it would be sweat. The movie literally is like you're literally getting close-ups of dudes at this period. It's like Enlightenment period, Italy, and you could see how hot and sweaty it is. I'm sure Aaron could, you know, he could definitely. I don't know, appreciates the right word, but yeah, he could definitely maybe appreciate the sweat in this movie. I don't know. Beatrice Century is great, though. I mean, it's brilliantly acted and constructed. It takes upon like a story about basically Beatrice gets raped by her dad, for the lack of a better word, and it's kind of hard to like talk about the movie and not just kind of say that, because it does kind of revolve around that, and I'm sorry if I might have spoiled a bit, but the way it's constructed, if you look into this movie, it's a historical case. They've made other movies about it, so it's almost like a known thing. So I actually apologize if that does spoil it for you, but the way that they kind of get to that in the movie is great, and they really make the father character very nasty. I mean, Fulchi had I think this is Fulchi's favorite film too.
It was his favorite film, actually.
Yeah.
So he's the most proud of. And what we go for next?
Next is 90s comedy. So what I have, I'm just, like I said, we're just gonna keep on burning through DVDs. Like I still have some Blu-rays to get to, but I got another DVD for this one. This one I watched Men at Work from 1990, directed by Emilio Estevez, and as well as starring Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. I mean, it's hard to say that the two of these guys don't have charisma and chemistry together because they're brothers. So you definitely could, they're definitely operating with that in mind. I liked it. I think Keith David steals the show, though. Keith David's performance in this movie is fantastic.
Now, this is one I saw in theater, and I was disappointed. Probably because I went in with what I'm used to seeing with Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, and I felt like it was a little undercooked compared to some of the stuff that I'd seen just like recently at the time.
It's definitely a bit low key, and they they're not they're the main characters, but I don't know if they get into that. Do you think they were going to get into hijinks? Maybe more hijinks type deal?
Yeah, actually, I did. I thought there's going to be a little more to it than that. So where would you rate this one? I would go with B. What would be you?
Yeah, I'm at a B. Yeah, it was good, not great, and I'll definitely watch it again. It's definitely something that played on cable TV on a loop. So it's a staple. And speaking of staples, before we move on, Dean Cameron is in the movie. And I mean, he's Chainsaw from Summer School. So I remember talking. It's either I think I responded to a tweet by from Stephanie Crawford, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like Dean Cameron's like the '90s staple. Like if your '90s comedy doesn't have him in it, you're missing out." And that's because he's in this movie. That gives it a B, at least a B.
Okay, and which was next?
All right, Blaxploitation is next. One of my favorites. A huge fan of funk music. Parliament Funkadelic, James Brown. Bootsy Collins. The list goes on. Confunction. I don't even know. I could sit here and Brothers Johnson and keep on just rattling off funk bands, Average White Band, and just keep on going because I love them. So anyway, I decided to pay a little more tribute to a different James Brown again, Jim Brown, bringing him back for Black Gun for Blaxploitation from 1972. This was a great movie. I think I don't remember as much as the plot as I do the performances. I mean, his name is the guy's name is Gunn. He's a nightclub owner. His nightclub's called the Gun Club. And I don't know. I mean, he's smooth in it. It definitely has some like cast of characters. Martin Landau's the big bad. Bruce Glover. You got Brenda Sykes is in it. Vida Blue, the baseball player, makes an appearance. So I think it was pretty good. I would put around an A or a B from what I remember.
I'd say with this one go hit in the A category.
Yeah. What's your experience with this one?
I enjoy that one. I enjoy the cast, and overall that was fun.
Yeah, it's a fun cast. Can I just say real quickly? I never met Jim Brown, but I went to Cleveland for a Bills Browns game, and they were inducting some players into their Ring of Honor. So I was in the stadium in Browns Stadium with Jim Brown, and then so that's cool. And then there's another player, Joe DeLamalore, who played with the Bills for his entire career and took a 4-year break in Cleveland. So he's in both like Wall of Fame, Ring of Honor, for both teams. So he was also in the stadium too. So yeah, I shared a stadium with that. Oh, before we move on, this was another Twitter and Discord poll. So they picked Black Gun out of Slaughter's Big Revenge and the Slams. And I really kind of wanted to watch the Slams, but Black Gun was good, and I'm glad that they picked it. I think they picked right.
Yeah, but they chose right again. Twitter chose right again, which is the only thing Twitter can do right nowadays.
All right. Oh, I think I moved on a little bit too quickly. All right. So we're going on to some Blu-rays. So we're finally into some boutiques. Apologies for a mass of DVDs, but hey, I'm just going. I'm going where the calendar takes me. I have a lot of Blu-rays to get through as well, so I did another Blu-ray roulette, and the roulette wheel randomly chose what is it? Death Row Game Show from 1987 by Mark Biro. And I mean, you definitely get what you sign up for in this movie. It's silly. It's definitely a funny. It's funny that I'm playing a roulette game and it spits out a game, movie based on a game show.
I would definitely hit the B with this one.
Yeah, I'm at a B or a C. I'll say this too. 1983's A Polish Vampire in Burbank is from the same director, and that's on my 83 list. So hopefully I can get to that at some point. Yeah. That was just a good movie. I would definitely pick up good features on here. I would pick up that Blu-ray. All right. Okay, I moved on again. We did another. So this is in our free space day. I forgot to mention before. And Blu-ray Roulette chose for me next The Loveless with Willem Dafoe. Of course, famously directed by Monty Montgomery as well as Catherine Bigelow. Although I don't think it's their premiere or their debuts, but maybe. No, yeah, it looks like it was a debut for both, and it says a debut for Willem Dafoe too. So that's amazing. I didn't even realize that was his first movie. I loved it. I thought that it was made exceptionally well, and I don't know. I mean, I think Catherine Bigelow. I heard something about her not like disowning the movie. Have you heard about this?
I didn't actually. I would definitely A category this one. Actually, I really like this movie.
Yeah, I'll say this.
Yes.
I think that it's not trying to say the same things, but they're trying to say something in the same nature that what Easy Rider is trying to say, but it has different results in both movies, and a must see. All right. Let's like we're not even done with random Blu-ray roulette. So I got to 4 movies today. So the third one from 1973, it is The Laughing Policeman. Stars Walter Matthau and Bruce Dern. They're buddy cops. They're trying to figure out who killed a whole bus of people. And what's your opinion on? I wouldn't say just this movie, but what's your opinion on like 70s Matthau?
Any Matthau is fantastic, but 70s Matthau is at peak.
Oh yeah,
I love Laughing Policeman. It was here, but I'm not seeing it right. Oh no, there it is. Perfect.
No,
so this would definitely be high up.
Yeah, I said something like if you can't handle 70s cop thriller or crime thriller Walter Matthau, then you don't deserve Grumpy Old Man Matthau. Fair.
That is fair, and I put this one up in the A
I'm
category
in
for
B
sure.
or A, so you know if you think you want to push it a little bit better up into the A, I'm comfortable with that.
Well, done
And
pushing it. If it seems like I'm pushed along a little fast, guys, I do apologize, but when I left here today, it was kind of in a hurry, so my computer is not exactly at its optimum percentage right
yeah, we're
now.
gonna try to push through like I said, a little bit more quicker. But so last one was Arrow. The last one before that was an Arrow. Laughing Policeman was Kino. We got Imprint now, so this is a beautiful release. This is the Assassination Bureau. All right. Let's just the Cliff Notes version on this. It has a very great visual essay by Kat Ellinger. So I'm definitely would suggest trying to find this if it's not on. I think Arrow just put out a copy of Assassination Bureau. Long story short, Oliver Reed heads up an assassination bureau, and somehow Diana Rigg gets involved. I think maybe she might be like a widow of someone that he assassinated. But anyway, he ends up taking a contract out on himself, and he asks the rest of the board of assassins to try to kill him. So that's pretty much the whole movie. It's great. You're looking at Kurt Jurgens and Telly Savalas as the main bad guys in this, and they're flying a dirigible towards the end of the movie, which you can tell they spent most of the budget on. But it's fun, man. I mean, you just see I don't know. You think you have a Zeppelin in the sky? Is someone going to fall from it? We hope so. I don't think that Assassination Bureau is going to let you down. Diana
I'll say,
Rigg, Oliver Reed, man. Have you seen
I'd
it?
say solid B. Oh
Solid
yeah,
B?
I own. Actually, I bought it on DVD, and then I forgot I had it and bought it again.
Hey, that's not misspent. I'll say that. Okay, so we're gonna go into Aliens next. I streamed. Now, what's cool about this is I didn't have any options. I couldn't think of anything. I belong to a Discord group called All We Need Is a Sleaze, and it's run by the Sleaze Merchant. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And he streams, and he streamed The Green Slime as part of a marathon,
I love that
and
song.
by Kenji Fukasaku, 1968. And I mean, I must admit, the movie has its charms. Um, I think it pulls off like space combat shots 10 years or 11 years before Moonraker, which I really think is one of the highlights of Moonraker is their space sequences. This one has some similar astronauts fighting like tentacled aliens, but Aaron, the theme song. Do you remember this theme song?
Yeah, the theme song is the best part of the movie.
Oh my god. Yeah, it
Like,
really is. And then you're kind of like, man, I'm really pumped, right? Because they hit it right in the beginning.
I think
Opening credits.
I think this would be a C, but the theme song might
I'm
bump it to a
comfortable
B.
with the C. Even with that theme song, I mean, yeah, man, it's running neck and neck with Neon Slime as my favorite movie Slime theme song. But nonetheless, yeah, it was okay. Not great. All right. Next, we're going to go into Revenge. And I decided to crack open a Vinegar Syndrome title I recently purchased, and it was Steel and Lace.
Yeah.
People, you had a shot at this at $10. You had another shot at it at 14. Buy this movie. It's entertaining. It's fun. You get 2 different aspect ratios. You get some special features, including an audio commentary. It looks great. Buy this movie. Buy it. That's all I got to say about it. I don't want to get too much into it. It's your straightforward, it's like she's like resurrected, as a machine.
It's a good movie. It's a solid B. Like almost an A.
Almost. The
But
cast is great.
the cast is fantastic.
Okay, Bruce Davison, Willard. You got David Naughton from American Werewolf in London. Brian Backer from The Burning, which is shot in the town that I'm in. And then you have Squiggy. And Squiggy always just is like that sugar that makes it sweet. I love seeing Squiggy and Lenny show up. Sometimes they show up together, sometimes not. So David Lander, you get R.I.P. David Lander, man.
Oh man.
And I'll say this too: if I was Michael McKean, the rest of that cast of Laverne and Shirley, he's the only one left. So, whew. All right. Okay. Cynthia Rothrock was the next one. So I ended up choosing Yes, Madam. Never seen it before. What's your
Really?
take
Oh,
on Yes, Madam?
I love Yes, Madam. I think it's one of her best.
I think Michelle Yeoh is kind of like, it's kind of hard to pick a favorite between her and Cynthia in this movie. They're both bringing the fire in equal amounts. I loved it. I thought the bubbling bad guys kind of detracted a little bit. I wish that they
Yeah.
would have taken themselves a little more seriously, and so for that reason, I would put it an A. But if they tightened up the bad guys, easily S.
Yeah, it happens like that happens a lot in the Asian cinema. They'll have these overly wacky characters.
Yeah.
Um,
So all right, 80s action was next. I streamed this movie as well. This was a midnight movie. I watched a few actually for this category, but the first one was over midnight, and I think it's perfect to watch this if you're not going to watch it with a crowd. It is called Dog Day. It is from France. It's from 1984, and it stars Lee Marvin as a bank robber. And in the beginning of the movie, it's awesome because he has this giant, not a giant, but he's got a bazooka and he blows up a car. Like, it's fantastic, right? Then he pulls off this bank heist. All the rest of his guys get shot. He's the one that escapes with the money. And then it's like he takes a turn into, if you remember your 2000 Maniacs, Pleasant Valley, because everybody in the town that he goes to is so depraved, even to the little kid. And then I was like, why does this little kid look familiar? And then I'm like, oh, it's the little kid from Tin Drum. So it's definitely high on the sleaze level and violence. I'm at a B or an A with this. This is a pretty good movie.
I'd say for this one, solid B, almost an
Yeah.
A.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. Next, moving on, we had a DVD. Now, quick little story. I thrifted this DVD because, for the most part, if I like what I'm seeing as the description, I like the stars. I'm sign me up, okay? And especially if it's $1, which this was. Now, I thrifted this last year, and then Exhumed Films did X Fest in June of last year, and they played High Risk. And I would have paid good money to see this with an audience. Have you seen High Risk, Aaron?
I have seen High Risk.
We got James Brolin, Tony Quinn, Lindsay Wagner. All right, here. I'm going to explain this movie real quick. All right, you got Dad 1. Dad, what did you do this weekend? Oh man, we went camping, went fishing. Fantastic. What do they do this, Dad? What do they ask me? Okay, I watched some movies with my kids maybe, or I got in some project at home. Okay, what about the dads in High Risk? What did y'all do this weekend? Oh, well, you know what? My buddies and I flew down to South America where we basically, before that we got guns from Ernest Borgnine, a gun runner, Ernest Borgnine, because of course he has, what they need. They get a rent a airplane. They get dropped into South America. And what else did we do? Oh yeah, we ripped off a drug kingpin played by James Coburn, and we fought off rebels that are led by Tony Quinn. What? I watched this by myself. And by the time we get to a certain point near the end, when there's a certain song, another nice needle drop that I don't want to spoil for anyone hits this, I'm at home fist pumping. I'm like, yes! This is easily an A.
Alrighty.
Oh my goodness, this is so much fun. This is the type of movie that Exploitation is all about. And I highly recommend watching this. If you can watch it with an audience, even better. All right. Okay. DVD time again. We went okay, so we have one more 80s action before we ended the night. I fit in from the Sonny Chiba set. This is an old Mill Creek. Now, let me just put it that way. This is how old the Mill Creek is. You see that old logo?
I have that set.
This is a good one. And so I wanted to get some diversity. So I wanted to get some Sonny Chiba, love him. I went with Ninja Wars from 1982, from Japan, of course. And, you know, I mean, you get a little bit, not a lot of Sonny Chiba, but he's very effective in this movie. However, you do get Hiroyuki Sanada. And if you recognize the name, you may not, but you may not recognize his face because he was in Avengers Endgame and most recently Bullet Train and John Wick 4. So he's, you know, he's a known commodity, especially in the US now. Do you remember Ninja Wars?
I do.
Do you remember the part where the guy throws up onto Sanada, the character he's playing, and then like Sonny Chiba has to come in and like basically crack him out of it because it's like some kind of fast drying spew, like cement spew. I don't know what you want to call it. Or what about when they decapitate one of the ladies in the movie and they switch her head with some imposter? I'm just peppering a little bit of the. This definitely got gross foo in it, but definitely worth your time. I'm at an A, just based on the bonkersness alone. All right. Okay. Exploitation. You got it.
This is dying quickly, so let's go.
All right. Well, hopefully we don't lose the stream. I'm hoping Aaron can, you know, is going to grab a power cord. While we're waiting, you know, let's just say, you know, if you want another reason to watch Ninja Wars, it is called a ninja. It ain't called ninja for no reason. Ninja Wars has very awesome martial arts. There's a part where they have like a hooked sword that they're, you know, it's kind of like makes like a 90-degree angle almost. And you know, the guy, you know, he's like an assassin character, is taking out people like that. Just a fantastic like weapon, just amazing. Hello. Yeah, I mean, definitely, like, you know, I mean, when we talk about Sonny Chiba in the format of cheap or you know, cheap DVDs or collections, you know, the Street Fighter set, the Street Fighter movies have definitely been released a lot. I have the Shop Factory, you know, set that they released with not the Executioner but the Street Fighter ones. So I have a bunch of those. I have you know, just a mess of them. How are you doing, Aaron? What's up?
Pretty good. I had to get something that my better half ordered from Glovo, but we better get through because I'm less than 10%.
Okay, well, we'll try to blast through. If for some, well, no, we're close in. Let's just go. Let's just move on. All right, Raging Cajun was my pick for Exploitation. Okay, it stars David Heavener. He was in another movie. I forget the title. I don't know if I'm going to watch it because this was sort of a bore fest. Yeah. I signed up for Exploitation. I signed up for Cajun. There was nothing with Gators, not even any Cajun speak, barely any action or anything. He just basically stopped kickboxing, which was probably the most exciting part of the movie, to become a country like songwriter and a dishwasher. But it's a D. However, the set from Trauma, we're at a B because there is, you know, this is a Trauma DVD. You know it's going to be packed with some goodness. All right. Moving on, I want to say this. And just highlight this real quick. This is their thumbnail. This is my pick for Italian horror. This is Scream of the Demon Lover. Awesome. And this is definitely gets my recommendation. It's like I said, it's from the Danza Macabre Gothic horror set. I got this. I basically shared, liked, and subscribed to one of their posts. I forget what it was. I shared their post on Instagram or Facebook, and Severin chose me to get this. So this was a freebie on my end, and I really appreciate it because I saw Lady Frankenstein, and Scream of the Demon Lover is definitely one you need to check out. It's well constructed. There's strong giallo elements. It's basically she works for a baron, and everyone that the baron bones dies. So you get some. You definitely get some some of the hard, not hardcore, but you definitely get some nudity. You get some violence. And Master Chaos didn't like this movie. I read his review on it. I'm thinking maybe he watched the edited version, because the version I watched was fantastic, and it is probably an A. I'm going to put it in an A for me.
I would 100% put that in A. I don't have the set, but I've seen the movie and I do like it a lot, actually.
Okay. Moving on very quickly. I can't find the set, but I watched Castle Freak to close out my Italian horror day. It is not Italian made, but it's Italian based horror, as it was shot entirely in Italy by Stuart Gordon with the full moon, all the full moon trappings. But this has to be the best full moon picture they ever released. Easily an S. Just put it in an S. Castle Freak is great.
100%. I agree.
The acting, the effects, the filmmaking itself. Jeffrey Combs, Barbara Crampton, hitting, not even hitting above their weight, just doing the movie justice as it should, and letting the Castle Freak being the main attraction. So, all right, that was a DVD. I had another DVD I thrifted literally weeks before the event. I kind of was stumped on Sammo Hung, and instead of settling for Mr. Nice Guy that he directed, I went with Iron Fisted Monk. Okay. Now, this is, like I said, I thrifted it. I thrifted it actually along with Dolomite, so it was a very good day. We usually expect like funny type of kung fu movies with Sammo Hung. This one kind of takes a turn really serious. It's you really hate the bad guy in this movie. I'll put it that way. And with the exploitative elements on them are very high. So he's like a predatory bad guy. They go out of their way for you to hate him. But the rest of it's great. Sammo's really a delight. The ending, of course, is great. The ending with him and I think it's Yan Biao. I forget who it is. Yeah, I think it's Yuan Biao, because I think he's on the thumbnail, but he plays like another guy that used to be a monk. Anyway, I would put it at a B. I don't know if you have any experience with the Iron Fisted Monk, but I'm at a B for that.
Actually, I'd agree with that one.
Okay. So 80s comedy day. Now this is cool. I started off with a classic, and I watched it with my 11-year-old because we both like Ernest. Okay, so he hadn't seen this, and this happens to be my favorite Ernest movie. We're talking about 1987's Ernest Goes to Camp. It is a classic. Why do we love it? Eggs Erroneous. Remember Eggs Erroneous? What about my favorite part? Do you remember the parachuting snap turtles? Just so much of a blast. This is a B, solid B. Definitely going to rewatch this. The kid loved it. Can't go wrong. Okay, next I watched a DVD. We're still in 80s comedy, so I wanted to watch another movie from this set, John Candy, Canadian Great.
So that's my favorite, Great Outdoors.
Talking about great, I went with The Great Outdoors. Uncle Buck is great, or enjoyable. Going Berserk is probably one of my favorite comedies from 1983. But Great Outdoors, yeah, I don't know. It's a movie. I like it. It's funny. I forgot Annette Bening was in it. That's one thing. I think I'm in a solid B. We could probably.
Oh,
yeah.
I did it for a B for sure.
All right. Next one was another DVD. I have another Mill Creek set, and I chose the middle one. This was also a random pick. I wanted to actually the previous one was, I don't have to get to that, but anyway, yeah, this was randomly chosen as well. But what happened was I ran out of time for 80s comedy, so I ended up watching this on Free Space. It's a C. Let's just put it there. But what I want to say is it has a really cool TV cast. You've got Herman Munster, Fred Gwynn, L.A. Law's Kerwin Benson, Corey Matthews' dad from Boy Meets World, William Russ. You have Al Bundy and Jay from Modern Family, Ed O'Neill, and you have Dean Norris or Hank from Breaking Bad. Yep, watch it.
It's worth watching. It's just I want more from the cast.
Oh, I agree. Also, Jim Kof, who wrote, I can't remember, but he was involved with other movies that I can't remember off the top of my head. So let's just move on. But he is a name that's out there. All right, so I'm going for this free space is the last of the month. So I watched a couple of commentaries with movies or listened to some commentaries with movies. My first of the day was the Grateful Dead movie. Now, this is what we're going to talk about. What do you consider exploitation? I'll say this. The Grateful Dead movie is exploitation, so much as it's exploiting not only the concert, but the people that attend the concert, the people that work on the concert. It's, it's a concert film, but it has so much like life to it. You get the full experience of a Grateful Dead movie, and I can't even explain to you how illuminating the commentary on this is with the two editors, because the Grateful Dead they basically filmed this at the end of a hiatus. And other than doing solo gigs, Jerry was working on this. Pardon my French, but the other bands called this Jerry's Jerk Off. That's how, like how much he invested into this movie, and it paid off. I'm at a solid S on this movie, actually, because if you ever wanted to know what it was to be at a Grateful Dead show at Winterland, where they shot The Last Waltz, where the Grateful Dead closed Winterland, this is an invaluable experience. And the set, this Digipack, I mean, they also put it on Shout Factory on Blu-ray, but I don't know if it's as good as this is. So, but that's an S for me. All right. One last free space. We did this one. This might be my favorite movie watch of the or maybe my favorite movie, maybe not my favorite watch of the event. But for June's Exploitation, I wanted to pay it up again to Patrick Bromley, so I listened to his commentary on the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray because I don't have a 4K player yet, and it was definitely worth the purchase. I didn't know that Nubbins, the character of Nubbins that Chop Talk brings around, was actually the hitchhiker character from the first one. That's really cool. And then they explained that like Chop Top wasn't around because he was in Nam at the time of the original Chainsaw Massacre. So
yeah, they're brothers, like kind of twin brothers.
Yeah. So it's like it kind of builds more. Like I kind of appreciate it a little bit more because I didn't realize that Nubbins was actually Edwin Neal's character. So that's an S for me, easily an S.
Well, even to put it more, if thing wasn't going, I'd show you, but I have like a Chop Top and Nubbins like figure.
We'll have to look at that next time. Yeah,
I do apologize, by the way. I do want to have you back on again, the chat, because things over the last week have gotten pretty, behind the scenes got pretty messed up.
It's all good, and I'm just glad that we were able to do this. And we just have like 4 more movies, so we're in the home stretch for sure.
We got 3 more actually.
3 more. Yeah. So we're in sequels. It's the last day of the month. I went with three number 2s. So my first one was a classic, in my opinion, just in terms of just seeing this movie so many times on cable TV. We've got Caddyshack, okay, 2, not Caddyshack 1, Caddyshack 2 with Jackie Mason. Now, it's not better than Caddyshack 1. Jackie Mason, I don't even know if he's a funny or good actor. I don't even know if he's sexy. I don't know how Diane Cannon even gets attracted to him in this movie. But have I seen this forever? And do I love this movie? Have I seen it so many times? Yes. But I mean, it can't be better. I feel like it would be wrong to put it in B. I have to put it in a C, but it's a high C because I will rewatch this movie. I've seen it so many times.
I think it's put in B, but it is a fantastic little film. I actually like Caddyshack 2 a lot. It's not Caddyshack, the original, is like bona fide classic, and it's a different film. But I actually, Jackie Mason's good, but he's no Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah, and it's not even Rodney Dangerfield when he's hitting a stride like he does in like Easy Money from '83, which is definitely one you should check out. Okay, so I used Twitter again to choose between 3 movies. It was Shock Treatment. It was The Exorcist Part 2. I think they chose wise again because they chose for me Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Screw your Twitter.
Listen, yeah, are you referring to maybe Shock Treatment?
Well, both of those would be better. But Shock Treatment is the best of those 3 films. Like
Okay.
by far. Oh my god.
So you're
Yes.
saying The Exorcist 2 is better than Halloween 2?
Yes. Like Exorcist 2 is not a good movie. It is technically a pretty horrible movie, and the cab driver gets the worst part of the whole film. He really,
Well,
really does.
like I said, I mean, I definitely put it in the running because I have it, so I'm definitely going to get to it again. But I got to say this, and I'm going to make a bold claim here. I might get some comments on here after the video. I kind of like Halloween 2, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, just as much as I like Rick Rollensthal's Halloween 2, if I'm being my utmost honest.
I cannot agree. Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, this is by far and large. When the list came up, and I said, okay, what's going to be like the lowest movie for me on this entire list? It's Halloween 2. Just
You know
because
what? I don't know. What's the big drawback? Because I think that Scout Taylor Compton is phenomenally great in the movie.
Scott Taylor Compton was phenomenally great in the first one, like 100%. And my problem with Halloween 2, and my problem with Rob Zombie's Halloween, but specifically Halloween 2,
Okay.
is a couple of things, and it is that he writes characters at a base level of like somebody that took a first year psychology class and didn't finish it. Like nobody seems real. Everybody seems like, okay, no, this is what somebody would be like if they were going through PTSD, and you don't know. Like you just ran. If you were like, say, I'm going to do my the people you've had them in your life. I did my research on the internet, right? Rob Zombie's like script writing in these films specifically is like that. 2, there's no consistency in the characters. The character that's played that as Scott Taylor Compton plays her in part 1 and part 2 don't line up, even with the PTSD aspect of it. Dr. Loomis is horribly done in the second one. The butcher's character, the pacing of it is atrocious. The sequence with the cow is one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in any film ever, with the worst line reading, which is one, and Richard Brake's an actor I like, with literally one word over and over again. It's just,
I don't know. It's like
I keep going back to it. And I keep trying to find, because a lot of people love this movie. This is one of their favorites. This is their Halloween film.
It's easily better than the first one of his.
See, I mean,
like a lot better than the first one.
I don't think I can, because here's the thing: the first one, as much as I dislike like some of the stuff that was done in the first one, and I'm going to say theatrical cut, because on both of these films, I'm probably getting demonetized for this, but fuck the director's cut, because they're horrible, specifically for the first one.
I watched the unrated director's cut. I don't know. It just kind of caught me. I don't know what to say. I definitely agree with you with the Loomis character. It's the departure. A lot of the decisions are not that, not what you would see from Halloween 1. But like watching it separately, just as a movie without most of the trappings,
you can't, though,
and especially after watching. But especially after watching Halloween Ends and how disappointed I was in that movie, this was like Air. If Halloween Ends was a vacuum, this was like Air to me.
See,
I'm not saying it was great, but I really enjoyed it on this watch, and I'm not sure if I did watch it before, because I remember some of the elements, but I remember the whole thing. I don't know. I enjoyed it on this rewatch. I gotta say, it was. I mean, I don't want to. I don't even want to. I definitely won't say that it's going to be where I would put it. But I mean, are you saying that you're lowest rung on this one?
I
Or
would
is it
lowest rung
D?
it. Like I won't lowest rung it because like it's overall your list. I'm just gonna give my portion of it.
That's fine.
So I'll go to C.
C's fine.
But
C. But if I was
and
being
all
honest,
honesty,
I don't know.
and like
It
the
had
lack of
Stretch in
mask,
it. We,
kind of like getting him talking.
I got a little endorphin boost when I saw Stretch return from Texas Chainsaw 2, and then she showed up again on this. I don't know. You know what? He definitely, you know what? I think C was fine with it, but I would put it maybe in a B, honestly. But let's move on to the last one. I think we
Yeah.
talked about this one enough.
Yeah.
So, okay, remember when I said that I bought Devil in the Flesh 1 and 2 and Body Chemistry 1 and 2? So I had to close out the month with Devil in the Flesh 2. This is the perfect bookend. So this is my last movie. I was kind of disappointed though, I gotta say. Yeah,
it's not half as good as the first one. And
no,
like,
it's a retread at best. What's the lady's name? Jodie Lynn O'Keefe is okay, but she's not given anything new to do with the character. So, I mean, it takes the setting to college. She changes her name. That's about it. But it's basically the same thing.
I'd still put them both at C. I wouldn't rank it lower. I wouldn't rank it a D. Like it's not a D. Because it basically literally is. It literally is the same. Like it hasn't lost too much quality. Jodie O'Keefe's in a Halloween film, actually.
I think you're right. H2O.
Yeah. So for that alone, in a superior Halloween film. Yeah, I give this one a C.
I would love to talk more on Halloween 2, but I think it probably just deserves maybe it just even deserves a rewatch for me, because I'll be honest with you, like I said, I watched Texas Chainsaw 2, but I watched it with commentary. I didn't go through that movie just as is. And remember we were talking about how I was going to do that to rewatch it, but honestly, I think the next time I watch that film, I'm going to watch it like to sit down and pay attention. But yeah, I mean, Caddyshack 2 was okay, but this was good. I kind of fell for the imagery of it. I don't know what else to say. I just enjoyed myself watching this movie.
You have to like what you like. If we all like the same thing, it'd be boring, Matt. It'd be boring.
And that's a shocker for me. I was not going into this for as much as I'm not like I saw the Rob Zombie Halloween in the theater. I bought the DVD. So I mean, I liked it enough to do those two things. So I don't know. It just kind of caught me, and I really
say give Halloween Ends another chance down the road.
Yeah,
well, Halloween Ends is one of those that I really think that is going to be reevaluated, because people are went into it after the first two thinking, okay, look, this is what we're going to get. They had something in their mind, and they never got it. And the same thing happened with Halloween 3. People had something in their mind of what they thought they were going to get, and that's not what they got. So I think it's one of those that, like, because
it's a great movie too. So
yeah, that's the thing. And it's like, well, Halloween 3 didn't turn out to be great. And I know people that actually walked out Halloween 3 when it initially came out. But I think Halloween is going to be one of those, because I think it's a way better film. And like you said, if you take it on its own too. I have to say that with my computer dying, I want to thank you so much. I do apologize again for having to rush this, because I'm having a blast. This is literally the best part of is the best part of my last couple of days.
Yeah,
I had a bit of an accident, but that ended up not too bad. My toe was still a little bit like swollen, but
and you were doing you were trying to take care of some kitties, and that's always commendable.
Well, they were like they were doing the paintings here, putting all the painting stuff up around the house, and I said, okay, like Hannah was going outside, and she said, "There's a cat outside. Can you get the cat?" So I got the cat and went to give cat food to him. Then another cat came along. There's two of them, so I went and got a second one, and thinking cat food. and I realized, okay, they're going to fight if I put it on the same staircase. So
Oh
I
no.
went down the staircase, went up to, to do on two different staircases, put it in the garbage, uh, and started to come back up. Realized, okay, the second one isn't in the garbage. I got to go put that one down. So when I did, that's when I fell,
Oh man.
and
We were
they
talking
need
about like, yeah. And if we did this, if you fell like 20 years ago, you would have been fine.
yeah,
You know,
oh,
like,
yeah.
huh. Yeah,
Literally,
no,
I
it's
was
definitely,
parkouring before parkouring was a thing. So there you go.
yeah. I mean, I mean, I don't know. I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, so we definitely had a lot of free time outside. So there was a lot of exploring to be had.
Oh yeah,
Um,
there was no going inside when I was a kid. It was like,
I
come in for
I
supper.
watched
Go to
I'm sorry, I took my son to a park and we were trying to scale like the rock climb, right? So I'm like descaling and I'm jumping down. There's like a little like in the wall there's like a little spot that's like I don't know if they forgot to attach the part or whatever, but it was like a little spot, like a little piece of wood on the bottom, like just like empty. So
Yeah.
instinctively my foot went on there and I hit right the edge of this hard plastic. And I'm telling you, I used to play soccer. Okay, I mean, I could take a beating. This thing gave me such a welt. I might have caused a bone spur. I didn't break it, but I might have a future bone spur because of just trying to climb the rock wall with my kid. Um, so it's definitely yeah, definitely feel older
So
getting
I
to a
refuse
point.
to admit I'm getting old.
That's why I say I feel like I'm getting older because I don't feel old. Um, let's see. Rafa asked if I watched Giallo movies for this. Now, I didn't necessarily watch any Giallo for this movie challenge, but you could say of the at least the movies I watched from that Danza Macabre box, your Scream of the Demon Lover, definitely strong Giallo vibes. I mean, it's basically without spoiling it, it's a sex killing. Every time the Baron has sex with another character, and there's many willing, candidates in the movie, she dies. Spoiler alert, she dies. It's not giving away the big twist, but maybe hook in there. And the actress is great in that movie, but she's like kind of she's taking on a new thing. So it's like, every how many giallos do you have where the person not only is like experiencing like some violence or some strangeness, but newness, like they're in a situation that they're not used to. It definitely plays upon that. So I would suggest most certainly suggest the Scream of the Demon Lover is one of my favorites of the month.
It's a fun little box set. I need to get the box set actually.
Yeah.
Severin does really great with box sets. I still want their manual set. Not everybody's bag,
Yeah.
like 100%. But
I'm just glad I won it.
what?
I'm glad they just I won it. They picked my name at random, so
That's the thing, man. That was fantastic.
I
But
did.
with that being
I want to show one thing else though. I won something else before we go. So just because I haven't really. I think I did a post, but we didn't talk about this. But the Spiral Road, which is a movie by with Rock Hudson and Burl Ives and Gina Rowlands.
oh, wow.
This is another freebie as well. So you should follow Imprint on Instagram. I'm sure they have Twitter as well. But all I did was I commented on their post, and they pulled my name in a similar way as Severin did. And also remember we might talk about this at times. Don't click on links that people send you. What Imprint did was simply, hey, message us your information. You won, message us. So I went
Yeah.
and found them myself.
Yeah,
And
never.
I haven't gotten to it yet, but man, I'm eager to. This looks good. Nice little
You
jungle
need to
movie.
buy lotto tickets, man. You gotta buy lotto tickets.
I might, yeah. It just seems like that's when my luck runs out when I get the lotto ticket. But I think the big lotto just pulled in California, so it might be a minute before I play. I like to play when it's high. I only play when it's above like 500 million US
Oh, there. Well,
or close to it.
I want to thank you so much for coming in today. I do apologize. I've had a blast, and there's some movies I'm going to put on my watch and rewatch list. Actually, I'll give Halloween 2 another shot. I do own the disc, so Uh,
I bought it for $1. It was definitely worth $1 for sure.
I wish it would have had like the making of like what I like most about Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 1 is the 4.5 hour making of, which was fantastic. But if you don't mind, I'd like to get you to come back on again sometime. We can actually chill and chat a bit more.
Yeah. There's that. We have a 1983 project that we're kicking around a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'll say this: I've been listening to 80s All Over with Drew McQueenie and forget the other co-host name, so forgive me. But they only got halfway through it. But hey, that's good for me because they ended up covering all of 1983, so I can listen to it.
Well, the thing is too,
down the pike.
I had an idea for like a series of videos, and then there's a channel that I watch on YouTube called Movie Timelines, and he ended up doing it. I'm like at first I was like, oh damn it, he did what I wanted to do, and then I'm like, wait a minute, he's doing it way better than I would have done. This is really fun to watch. So he's watching all the movies of the 80s, and it's in 1981 now, and he goes like so many
that's great.
goes by a month. And it's really, really interesting.
Yeah, you know what? I want to do something like that, but I think that my version of it is 1983. And also, just to kind of put a pin in that, the 80s All Over, like they kind of like go out of their way to say, at least the co-host does, that like 1983 is not a good year for movies. So that's even more so on me.
Disagree. So that's a good year.
I wouldn't say disagree, but they're saying like of the 80s. And I mean, you can see the history of,
if you're a slasher fan, it's a good year.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like maybe even more so that it's maybe my own like feeling that I want to not prove them wrong, but find the good stuff and what movie is as good as and that is old as me that came out the year I was released. So that's where I'm kind of at, and I've definitely found some great stuff. Hint, hint, hint. If S.E. Hinton and Francis Ford Coppola was involved in the movie, I'm gonna love it. I'm just gonna say right now, and Matt Dillon. So, yeah, Rumblefish, man. Check out Rumblefish.
I remember seeing that there. It was such a good experience.
Oh, I'd love to see that in the theater.
All right, everybody. Matt, thank you so much. Do you want to kind of like pimp anything out? Let anybody know where they can find any of your stuff.
So I try. I recorded a podcast. I haven't released it yet. So if I have anything else, I'll let you know as soon as possible. But you can hear my voice also on the Fink Show. Podbean at 5 p.m. Eastern every Monday through Friday for the most part. They change time, so I'm kind of missing a bunch of them with the time change. But they're also on Patreon, so Patreon.com/The Fink Show. And then you can follow me on Instagram, MattyK555. Same on Threads. On Letterboxd, I'm the Wedge, just the Wedge with no space. And what else we got? Twitter, Matty_KUKS, Matty Kooks. And that's where you can find me.
And I am always here and on Patreon as well. My name is Aaron. This has been Matt. Stay around for a second, Matt, if you don't mind. But I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. And we all have different opinions on movies. I know, but
was not expect. I totally forgot about the Halloween too. So that was fantastic. I'm like, oh man, we're a little bit disconnected on this one.
But that's good. I like when that happens. But with that being said, guys, have a fantastic night. Watch some excellent films and check out all his stuff. Check out his podcast. He's got podcasts coming up, and we will be getting back together to do some stuff and maybe some 1983 goodness soon.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, guys.
Take care, everyone.